Chapter 538. There were many examples like this. Unless that person could ascend to the divine realm and meet the god of fate, they would never know what their original fate was. As long as one's fate was changed, the time of death would also be changed. Therefore, the Book of Death was actually affected by the Book of Fate. This was the first time Feng Wu and the others had heard about these two books. They also just learned that these two books existed in this world. Since the fate of humans is recorded in these two books, how can Ningbai revive her fiancé through the god of death's wishing stone? Irene asked curiously. Feng Wu and Ming Shi leaned against each other and listened attentively to old Magus Ibelin. Under the curiosity of the group of young people, Ibelin told them about the legend of this incident. After a person died, it was reasonable to say that they couldn't be revived. However, 10,000 years ago, an extremely talented postnatal god appeared in the underworld. This god cultivated from a spirit body to a god. After becoming a god, he naturally went to the underworld to serve a god. This postnatal god had a lover. His lover didn't have the talent for spiritual cultivation. Due to the fact that she killed too many people to avenge her family, there were no lack of innocent victims. Due to the heavy sins she committed, she had to stay in the underworld to suffer in order to atone for her sins. In order to save his lover, the only way was to revive her. However, it was easier said than done to revive someone after death. A spirit body without the talent for spiritual cultivation would never be able to condense a physical body. If he wanted to revive his lover, he had to find the god of death who controlled the Book of Death. That person made a bet with the god of death. If the god of death lost, he had to fulfill one of his wishes. If he lost, he had to do one thing for the god of death. In the end, the god of death lost. The god of death asked the postnatal god what wish he wanted him to fulfill. The postnatal god said that he wanted to revive his lover. Of course, the Grim Reaper later fulfilled his wish. However, the cycle of life and death in this world and everyone's fate were fixed. How could there not be a price to pay to change a person's life and death? The god of death gave the acquired god a stone. That stone was the stone god's wishing stone. The god of death said that as long as he made a wish to this stone, his wish would come true. The acquired god was very happy and immediately made the wish to revive his lover. A day later, the acquired god's lover was revived, but the acquired god's family members died one by one without him knowing. Originally, because he had already become a god, his family, under his protection, also had a long lifespan, so it was impossible for them to die so early. However, death did not tell him that everything in this world came with a price. If he wanted his lover to live, someone had to die in her place. This was the law of equivalent exchange. If you want to get something, you have to pay in double. This was the rule of the world. When the acquired god found out that 7 of his family members in the human world had suddenly died, and the ones who had died were the ones he valued the most, he went to find the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper told him these words, but he could not let it go. From then on, his personality changed greatly. He fell into the devil path and became a devil god. His lover also went to the devil world with him. From then on, he and the Grim Reaper were at odds. The god of death gave the acquired god the wishing stone, and he put it in the human world. He wanted those who had the same wish as him to taste the same pain as him. However, he did not expect that the wishing stone would change in the human world. Because the human world was different from the underworld, after a human made a wish, they had to prepare the 7 sacrifices themselves. They could not directly take away the 7 loved ones of the person who made the wish, like in the underworld. The rules of the human world allowed the person who made the wish to sacrifice not only their loved ones, but also their good friends. This was something that the acquired god did not expect. Fortunately, the Grim Reaper's wishing stone had only appeared 3 times in the human world in the past 10,000 years. It would only appear when the human had a strong desire to resurrect someone. When it did not want to appear, no one could find it. That acquired god was too excessive. He did not want others to have a good time. He was still a human before. Was it really good to cheat his own kind? Irene said disdainfully. She did not have a good impression of the protagonist of that person's story. Irene complained a few words. Everyone in the hall sat together and listened to the story quietly. For a moment, they all sighed endlessly. That acquired god wanted to resurrect his lover. It was not wrong. Unfortunately, he did not know that life and death in the human world was fixed. If you want to get something, you naturally have to pay a price. The Grim Reaper did not tell him about this matter at the beginning. This was also the important reason why the acquired god fell into the devil world. Finally, the acquired god fell into the devil world and threw the wishing stone into the human world. He wanted to cheat others and let others suffer the same pain as him. This kind of thought was somewhat sick. Because of his actions, many innocent people were harmed. Even Feng Wu almost lost her life. Just this point alone made the people here unable to sympathize with him. When I heard my teacher tell me this story, I also did not think it was true. Even the Grim Reaper's wishing stone was just a story. I did not expect to see the truth of this story today. Ibert sighed. In the past, he only thought it was a story. He did not expect that the story was not just a story. Since the Grim Reaper's wishing stone had appeared, then the acquired god in the story most likely also existed. Master Ibert, what should we do now to stop the Grim Reaper from taking Xiao Wu away? Ming Shi asked. Before we find the one who made the wish, I can only do my best. You must find the one who made the wish as soon as possible. Only when the one who made the wish dies will this matter be truly resolved. Ibert paused for a moment and continued. Before we find the one who made the wish, I can only do my best to stop the Grim Reaper's divine sense from taking her away. These are all weapons that are effective against the undead. Hold them in your hands. Later, I will use the psychic potion to open your eyes so that you can temporarily see the existence of the undead. I hope that we can all work together to save Xiao Wu's life before we find the one who made the wish. Even Ibert was not completely confident in this matter. The one who came to take Feng Wu away was none other than the Grim Reaper. Although it was only a divine sense, no one dared to underestimate it. They could even pat their chests and say that this matter would be resolved. Ming Shi and the others each took a weapon that was effective against spirits. The Grim Reaper's divine sense also appeared in the form of a spirit. Ordinary people could not see its existence at all. Only necromancers could do something about this kind of thing. Ibert set up many formations in the Feng residence that specifically targeted the undead, hoping to prevent the arrival of the Grim Reaper's divine sense. Chapter 539. The God of Death's divine sense appeared in the form of a spirit. Ordinary people couldn't see it at all. Only necromancers could deal with it. Abalin set up formations in many places in the Feng family to deal with the undead, hoping to stop the arrival of the God of Death's divine sense. The entire Feng family was busy the whole day, and so was the Chiu family. No one dared to relax at this time. When it was close to evening, they suddenly heard that someone had found traces of Ning Bai. The people they sent out had locked onto Ning Bai's location. Although they hadn't found the specific location yet, they had a certain range. When Feng Juntian heard the good news, he immediately led people to that area to search thoroughly, hoping to find Ning Bai as soon as possible. Although Ming Shi wanted to go, he was more worried about Feng Wu, so he sent Tianya to help. Although Tianya wanted to stay and protect Ming Shi, he had to listen to Ming Shi's orders. After Skycliffe and Feng Juntian left, all the servants were sent back to their rooms and were not allowed to come out. The battle with the God of Death was very dangerous. These people couldn't do anything even if they stayed, so it was better to send them away as soon as possible. In the entire Feng family, only Madame Lan was still in the dark. Aaron was arranged by the head of the Feng family, Feng Tianqing, to accompany Madame Lan. He was afraid that she would cry earth-shatteringly if she knew the truth. If Madame Lan knew that Feng Wu was targeted by the God of Death, she would probably cry her eyes out. It was already a special time. No one had the time to comfort the crybaby Madame Lan, so it was better to keep it a secret from the beginning. Night came. The first half of the night passed without any danger, but the second half of the night passed in fear. Starting from the second half of the night, thunder and lightning flashed outside the room. Almost all the thunder and lightning in the imperial city were concentrated in the Chiu family. The thick layer of thunder and lightning could make people faint. The Cho family also enjoyed the same treatment as the Feng family. They spent the second half of the night being struck by thunder and lightning. Cho Ruoshui was able to survive this time because Old Master Cho had invited the Cho family's sacred weapon out. Only then did she survive. However, her life was saved. The 2 consecutive scares had already exhausted Cho Ruoshui mentally and physically. She no longer had the extra energy to shout and scream as usual. Instead, she had a high fever when the thunder and lightning subsided. Her body temperature was high and didn't go down. The doctor that was invited said that this was a sequela caused by severe scares. He prescribed some antipyretic medicine and calming medicine. Cho Ruoshui began to be sick in bed. However, regardless of whether she was sick or not, the crisis of death could not be resolved. In order to save Cho Ruoshui, the Cho family had paid a great price. It was not easy to get through last night. Whether they could get through tonight depended on luck. It was impossible for the Cho family to lose half of their fortune for Cho Ruoshui. At that time, it was unknown whether Cho Ruoshui could be saved. The Cho family would definitely suffer a great loss. Which aristocratic family didn't have enemies? This matter could very well become an opportunity for their enemies to deal with them. For the future of the Cho family was very likely to sacrifice Cho Ruoshui. Madame Cho also knew about this matter. However, as a woman, she couldn't do anything. She couldn't disobey her father-in-law. Moreover, she couldn't give up the Cho family's fortune for her daughter. Even if they felt sorry for their daughter, they had to let her go. If they couldn't find Ningbai today, their daughter would definitely die. There was this kind of thunderstorm for 2 consecutive days. Moreover, there was thunder and lightning. Yesterday, it struck the Feng family. Today, it struck the Cho family. What was going on? All the aristocratic families in the imperial city began to talk about it. This thunder and lightning was clearly abnormal. Looking at the way it struck, it clearly had a target. What could it be? No one expected that at this time, what Ningbai did would be spread by a servant of the Cho family. After knowing the truth, everyone was in an uproar. Especially the 5 aristocratic families whose daughters had died. They all wouldn't give up on the Ning family. The Ning family was suppressed like never before. Even if they expelled Ningbai from the family, it was useless. The Ning family's business and their children and grandchildren were all suppressed to the point that they couldn't breathe. The whole Ning family was ruined because of Ningbai. Now, not only the victims' families, but also Ningbai's own family members hated Ningbai the most. Ningbai had harmed the whole family for her own selfishness. He wondered if Ningbai would regret her decision after knowing this. In the Ning family, Ningbai's parents were also condemned by everyone. Who asked them to give birth to such a troublemaker like Ningbai, who harmed the entire family? Ningbai was originally very popular because of her talent, cute appearance, and lively personality. Everyone in the Ning family loved her very much. However, no one expected that this girl, who they loved dearly, would bring so much harm to the Ning family. No matter if it was the older or younger generation of the Ning family, they all wanted to kill Ningbai to save the Ning family's business that was in danger. The Ning family wanted to send people to look for Ningbai, but they found out that the Ning family was all under the control of the Cho family. The Ning family had the best relationship with Ningbai. The few people who had the deepest blood relations with her were all taken to the city wall. Cho Ruobai stood on the city wall and ordered people to spread the news that Ningbai's family was captured by the Cho family. They wanted Ningbai to show up in exchange for her family's safety. If Ningbai didn't show up before sunset tonight, all the people close to her in the Ning family would die. Cho Ruobai thought that when Ningbai chose her friends as the sacrificial offerings, she didn't choose her parents. This proved that her family was very important to her. Therefore, Cho Ruobai didn't want to give up hope. He hoped that Ningbai would show up after hearing the news. Now, only by killing Ningbai could Cho Ruoshui be saved. The Cho family had decided to give up on this sister. As Cho Ruoshui's brother, Cho Ruobai couldn't watch his sister die. He had to fight for it. That was why the Ning family was surrounded and Ning Bai's family was captured. If Ning Bai didn't show up, Chiu Rua Bai would kill everyone in the Ning family to accompany his sister. Chiu Rua Bai's idea was good, but he underestimated the importance of Ning Bai's love. In Ning Bai's heart, love was above all other feelings. She could give up anything for the person she loved, but she would never throw herself into a trap for her parents. Besides, Ning Bai didn't know that her husband was captured. She was busy avoiding the people sent by the Feng family. If she was careless, she might be killed by the Feng family. She couldn't die. She hadn't married the person she loved. She couldn't die. Because of this belief, Ning Bai escaped from the Feng family's guards again and again. Feng Juntian and Skycliffe chased after her. Although Ning Bai was very careful, she still accidentally exposed herself. Feng Juntian and Skycliffe chased after her with their swords. Ning Bai ran forward with all her strength. Her physical strength was weaker than a man's. Soon, she was exhausted. Chapter 540. Besides, Ning Bai didn't know that her husband was captured. She was busy avoiding the people sent by the Feng family. If she wasn't careful, she might be killed by the Feng family. She couldn't die. She hadn't married the person she loved yet. She couldn't die. Because of this belief, Ning Bai escaped from the Feng family's guards time and time again. Feng Juntian and Skycliffe chased after her. Although Ning Bai was careful, she still accidentally exposed herself. Feng Juntian and Skycliffe chased after her with their swords. Ning Bai ran forward with all her might. Her stamina wasn't as good as a man's. Soon she was exhausted. "Big brother, look. There's someone there." A sweet voice suddenly sounded not far from Ning Bai. Ning Bai looked over in a panic. She saw a beautiful girl in a magician's robe holding the hand of a young man in a swordmaster's robe. The young man was extraordinarily handsome. The swordmaster's robe looked very imposing on him. Behind the young man and girl stood 20 to 30 burly men. They were all holding long swords and had dense fighting aura. It was obvious that they weren't ordinary experts. "Ning Bai!" the girl exclaimed after seeing Ning Bai's face. Ning Bai's eyes lit up when she saw the young man and girl's appearance. The brother and sister in front of her were actually her classmate and senior. The girl's brother had pursued her before, but she rejected him. She had a very good relationship with the young girl. If the young girl wasn't so far away, she might have been chosen as one of the 7 sacrificial offerings when she was selecting them. Wan Cheng. Ning Bai staggered toward the two of them. Seeing her in such a sorry state, they knew she must have encountered some danger, so they immediately protected her. "Ning Bai, what happened to you? Where's Senior?" Wan was the young miss of the Wan family. The Wan family was also a powerful family. It was even more powerful than the Ning family. Wan Cheng tried his best to pursue Ning Bai, but Ning Bai was deeply in love with her lover whose family background wasn't as good as Wan Cheng's. She rejected Wan Cheng's pursuit. Because Ning Bai didn't choose him because of her family background, Wan Cheng had always treated Ning Bai as his white moonlight and cinnabar mole. Ordinary people couldn't easily talk about her. Knowing that Ning Bai was about to get married, Wan Cheng's heart ached. He even avoided their wedding because he didn't want to see the sad scene. He didn't expect that as soon as he returned home, he would see his beloved in a sorry state. Someone dared to hurt his beloved. How could Wan Cheng forgive him? Upon hearing Wan's words, Ning Bai's face froze. She looked miserable. He's gone." Ning Bai muttered in pain. "He's gone. What do you mean by no longer around?" Wan was astonished. Ning Bai's fiancé was actually Wan's beloved one. She loved that gentleman deeply, but her senior only had Ning Bai in his heart. Wan was a kind-hearted girl. She knew that love couldn't be forced. Therefore, she gave up and gave her best friend and lover a chance. This time, she accompanied her brother to leave for training before Ning Bai's wedding because she wanted to avoid that sad scene with her brother. The man she loved deeply was about to marry her best friend. Even if Wan didn't hate Ning Bai, she still had to attend the ceremony and send her blessings. She didn't expect that her best friend, who used to be happy and sweet, would become so miserable after she left for a few days. She even said that her senior was gone. Although she had already convinced herself to let go, she couldn't take back the sincerity that she had given. After hearing that the person she loved was no longer around, Wan panicked. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. She hoped that Ning Bai would tell her that everything was fake and that it was just a joke that she and her senior played together. However, when she saw Ning Bai's heartbroken eyes, she had to admit that it wasn't a joke. It was the truth. Such an excellent senior had really left this world. What the hell is going on? What did you encounter? Why did it become like this? Wanqing asked 3 questions in a row. Although he didn't like the man who took away the one he loved, he didn't want to see Ning Bai sad. Since the first day he met Ning Bai, she always had a sunny smile on her face. Ning Bai was like a small sun that warmed the people around her. She warmed his heart. He liked Ning Bai so much that he could give up everything as long as he saw her happy. I can't explain it now. Help me block the people behind me. They want to kill me. Ning Bai looked behind her in a panic. As expected, she saw Feng Juntian and Skycliffe chasing after her with swords. She was so scared that she hid behind Wanqing. Her body was trembling in fear. It was obvious that she was frightened beyond words. How could anyone bully the woman he loved? Wanqing immediately ordered his guards to prepare for battle. Please hand that woman over to us. Feng Juntian went up and said sternly when he saw someone protecting Ning Bai. Who are you people? Why are you bullying Ning Bai? Ning Bai is such a good person. If you want to harm her, you must be up to no good. Wan pointed at Skycliffe and Feng Juntian and said angrily. Thinking that her beloved senior might have been killed by these people, Wan looked at Feng Juntian and Feng Juntian with a trace of hatred in her eyes. Feng Juntian noticed her gaze. He couldn't understand why this girl he didn't know had such strong enmity towards him. She even hated him. Feng Juntian was certain that he did not know the other party. The other party's hatred was completely baffling to Feng Juntian. Hand her over. Tian Ya's voice was still the same as before. It was so cold that it could drop dregs. Don't even think about it. Ning Bai, don't be afraid. Big brother and I will protect you. Wan was afraid that she would be scared, so she comforted her softly. In Wan's heart, Ning Bai was a girl who needed protection and love. As a friend, Wan had always protected Ning Bai. Who are you? Why do you want to kill Ning Bai? Wanqing asked. I am the Feng family's Feng Juntian. As for why I want to kill her, this woman has harmed many innocent lives for her own selfish reasons. We want to kill her to save people, so I ask the 2 of you not to stop us. Feng Juntian said concisely. Nonsense. Ning Bai is so kind that she can't even bear to hurt small animals. Saying that she harmed innocent lives is simply nonsense. Wan cursed loudly. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You must hand her over. Otherwise, more people will die because of her. Feng Juntian pointed his sword at Ning Bai with killing intent in his eyes. This woman dared to harm his little sister. If he didn't kill her, it wouldn't be enough to quell the anger in his heart. As long as he killed this woman, the death god's consciousness would disappear. Only then would Xiao Wu be truly safe. No matter what the reason was, in his heart, Ning Bai had to die. Chapter 541. This woman dared to harm his little sister. If he didn't kill her, he wouldn't be able to quell the rage in his heart. As long as he killed this woman, the death god's consciousness would disappear and Xiao Wu would be truly safe. No matter what the reason was, Ning Bai had to die in his heart. Humph. You want to harm Ning Bai in front of us? Don't even think about it. My brother and I won't believe you and fall for your trick. If you want to harm Ning Bai today, you'll have to do it over our dead bodies. After being friends with Ning Bai for several years, Wan felt that she understood Ning Bai very well. She knew that Ning Bai was just a little woman and was usually very kind. How could such a Ningbai kill for selfish reasons? This was simply the funniest joke she had ever heard. If Qiu Ruoshui was here, she would definitely be able to understand her. Qiu Ruoshui didn't dare to believe it at first, but after everything that happened, she had no choice but to believe it. If Wan didn't believe it, Wan Cheng naturally didn't believe it either. Compared to Feng Juntian and Skycliff, who he had never seen before, he obviously trusted his beloved woman more. In Wan Cheng's eyes, Ningbai was simply the most harmless little white rabbit, the kindest and most flawless woman in the world. Making him believe that Ningbai would kill was clearly an impossible task right now. I don't know them. They've been chasing me and trying to kill me. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are they doing this to me? Ningbai's face was filled with grievance and unwillingness. She seemed especially weak and helpless. This made Wan Cheng's heart ache. Thinking about how the two people in front of him caused his beloved woman so much pain, he simply wanted to kill them and take revenge for his beloved woman. In order to revive your fiancé, you use the soul sacrifice formation to sacrifice the souls of 7 of your good friends. You want your fiancé to come back. Because of you, 5 innocent girls have already been taken away by the death god. You deserve to die the most because you shouldn't have implicated my sister. In order to save my sister, you must die. Feng Juntian said. Feng Juntian's words stunned the Wan siblings. What did that mean? What did he mean by sacrificing the souls of her good friends? What did he mean by wanting to revive her fiancé? Could it be what they thought it meant? Although the Wan siblings were momentarily stunned by Feng Juntian's words, they quickly protected Ningbai. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that Ningbai could do such a thing. Don't talk nonsense. I've known Ningbai for so many years. How could I not know what kind of person she is? Don't throw dirty and smelly things at her. Wan glared at the two of them. She didn't believe that the pure and kind Ningbai would do that. Since it doesn't make sense, let's just do it. We don't have much time. Skycliff said. If it wasn't for Feng Juntian's presence, Skycliff would have definitely lost his patience and made a move long ago. Why would he stand here for so long without making a move? Feng Juntian had already lost his patience. They really didn't have much time. If they didn't kill Ningbai as soon as possible, who knew what would happen tonight? What if the Grim Reaper came for his Xiao Wu? When the Wan siblings saw that they were about to make a move, they immediately ordered the people behind them to surround Feng Juntian and Skycliff while the siblings left with Ningbai. The gods swarmed forward, wanting to stop the two of them. Feng Juntian had Skycliff deal with these people while he immediately chased after the 3 of them. The Wan siblings wanted to bring Ningbai back to the Wan family, but Ningbai refused. Instead, she wanted to run toward the remote and complicated terrain outside the city. The Wan siblings wanted to bring her back to the Ning family, but she didn't accept. The Wan siblings had no choice but to follow Ningbai into the forest, hoping to shake off the people behind them. Although Wan Cheng hadn't fought with Feng Juntian and Feng Juntian, he could feel how powerful the two of them were from their auras. If it was only one of them, he might be able to fight. However, Wan Cheng wasn't sure if he could win against the two of them together. Ningbai wasn't willing to go to the Wan family, nor was she willing to return to the Ning family. This made things difficult for the Wan siblings, so they could only follow Ningbai. Unlike the Wan siblings who didn't know what Ningbai was thinking, Ningbai knew what she needed to do. She only needed to stall for time. As long as she could stall for time, Fengwu and Qiu Ruoshui would definitely die. As long as the two of them died, the person she loved would be able to come back to life. As long as he could live, so what if she betrayed the whole world? She didn't need any friends. She only wanted him to stay with her forever. Ningbai's thoughts were simple, but she didn't think about how unfair it was to others. She didn't think about how it would hurt her friends who truly cared about her. Ningbai didn't care about any of this. She had always been a girl who treated love as her life. If she lost love, her life would gradually wither like a flower. She had unintentionally picked up the death god's wishing stone in a cave behind Autumn Mountain after she had been heartbroken. That day, she planned to commit suicide. There were too many people watching her at home, so it wasn't easy for her to die. However, it was much easier for her to die outside. She didn't expect that she would pick up the stone that changed her fate in the cave when she was about to commit suicide. She didn't know why, but when she passed by the stone, she had a strong desire to pick it up. When she picked up the stone, a lot of information naturally appeared in her mind, including the identity of the mysterious stone and the guardian town. After knowing the way to revive her lover, she gave up the idea of committing suicide. Ningbai made a wish to the death god without hesitation. She didn't think about choosing the 7 sacrifices from her family. Although Ningbai loved her fiancé to the point of madness, she wasn't so cold-blooded as to sacrifice her parents. From the beginning, she set her eyes on Feng Wu and the others. Feng Wu and the others were her friends who cared about her the most after the incident. They were ready-made sacrifices, so she naturally had to use them. Later, Ningbai planned everything. She lured everyone to Autumn Mountain for a walk and then led them to the trap she had set. She had done so much, and she was about to succeed. Because Qiu Ruoshui and Feng Wu were her 2 best friends since she was young, she still wanted to secretly send them on their last journey and complete their friendship. Later, she didn't know what went wrong, but everything she did was discovered. She realized that many people were looking for her. She knew that she couldn't be found. Once she was found, everything would be over. Her lover couldn't be saved. The Wan siblings didn't know what Ningbai was thinking. They only wanted to take Ningbai and escape from Feng Juntian and Skycliff's pursuit. They didn't know that their precious friendship was just a tool to revive her lover in Ningbai's heart. Chapter 542. The Wan siblings didn't know what Ningbai was thinking. They only wanted to help Ningbai escape from Feng Juntian and Skycliff's pursuit. They didn't know that their precious friendship was just a tool to revive her beloved in Ningbai's heart. The 3 ran towards the center of the forest. Wan used a teleportation scroll to teleport the 3 away. They only let out a breath of relief when they appeared in an unfamiliar place. Ningbai, sit down and rest. The Wan siblings helped Ningbai to a big rock and sat down. Ningbai drank a potion and felt that she had recovered a lot of energy. Brother, stay with Ningbai for a while. I will go ahead and see where this place is. Wan wiped the sweat off her forehead. Although she felt tired, she was more worried about Ningbai. Okay, go ahead. I will take good care of Ningbai. Wan Cheng didn't even look at his sister. His whole heart was on Ningbai. Wan felt a little bitter, but she didn't say anything. She wasn't jealous that her brother treated Ningbai better than her, but she still felt a little disappointed. Her favorite senior brother loved Ningbai the most. Her brother also loved Ningbai the most. After sighing, Wan followed the small path and went ahead to explore. After walking for a while, Wan discovered that there was a small village in front of her. She walked into the village and asked the villagers. Only then did she find out that they weren't far from the royal city. This place was just a small village outside the royal city. It was no wonder that a young lady like Wan had never been to this place and felt it was very unfamiliar. After asking for directions, Wan wanted to find her brother and Ningbai and tell them about this place. He didn't expect to hear voices coming from not far away. The voices belonged to 2 very ordinary villagers. Originally, she didn't care what they were talking about. However, when she heard them talking about the Ning clan, Wan couldn't help but listen. The Ning clan was Ningbai's clan. What if something happened to the Ning clan? Because she cared, she stayed and eavesdropped. Did you hear? The Ning clan's people were all captured. If the Ning clan's young lady doesn't appear before sunset today, the Ning clan's people will be killed at the city gate tower. The Ning clan. The Ning clan is so powerful. Who can kill them? You are wrong. It's actually the Qiu clan. Qiu clan. Why would the Qiu clan want to kill the Ning clan's people? Did the Ning clan offend them? The 2 men stood not far from the entrance of the village. They were talking excitedly and attracted some people to come over and talk. You don't know? Miss Ningbai of the Ning family has killed the young ladies of several families. Even the young lady of the Qiu family was almost killed. Now that Miss Ning Ai's deeds have been exposed, the Cho family and the other families that were killed have started to suppress the Ning family. In order to kill Ning Bai, the young master of Cho clan especially caught Ning Bai's parents and brothers. As long as she doesn't show up before sunset, her family members would definitely die. I see. Why did the Ning family's young miss kill the other young misses for no reason? It can't be because of a man, right? In any case, there were only a few reasons for women to start a feud. The biggest reason was probably because of love, so this person's thinking was not wrong. Who knows? It seems like there are a lot of implications involved, so other than a few disciples of large clans, no one else knows. So mysterious. This was the most remote village outside the imperial city. There weren't many people here, so the news spread slowly. If it wasn't because someone happened to come back from selling goods outside the imperial city, they wouldn't know that such a big thing happened in the imperial city. Everyone liked to gossip. Originally, there were only 2 people standing there talking, but in a short time, 3 more people surrounded them. After listening for a while, Wan walked away with a serious expression. She wanted to go back to the place where Ning Bai was resting to tell Ning Bai the news. However, she didn't expect to meet the people of the Wan clan. Third young miss, you are back. A middle-level god-form man with shrewd eyes ran up to Wan when he saw her. Wan knew this person. This person was the steward of the Wan clan. He usually worked for her father and was highly regarded by her father. Steward Gon, why are you here? Wan was surprised to see Gon Jiu here. Isn't it time to collect rent? Hoodlum, who is usually in charge of collecting rent, broke his leg when he was hit by a beast carriage. He can't come here to collect rent. The other clan heads were worried, so they asked me to come here personally, Gon Jiu said with a smile and a trace of respect in his eyes. Gon Jiu grew up with Wan's father. Not only was he outstanding, but he was also loyal to the Wan clan. He had always been the right-hand man of the Wan clan's head. Some of the unfavored concubines in the Wan clan didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of him. Wan was the young miss of the Wan clan. She was spoiled since she was young, so Gon Jiu never put on airs in front of her. I see. Then Steward Gon, you should go. My brother and I still have some things to deal with. We will go home after we are done. Wan wanted to ask about Ning Bai, but she heard that the Ning clan was being suppressed by several clans. Even the high and mighty Cho clan joined in and wanted to kill the Ning clan. She didn't know why, but she felt that she couldn't tell Gon Jiu about her encounter with Ning Bai. Otherwise, Ning Bai would be in danger. After sending Gon Jiu away, Wan carefully looked around to make sure no one was following her. Then, she ran back to Ning Bai's hiding place. However, Wan didn't know that her actions had aroused Gon Jiu's suspicion while she was carefully avoiding the crowd. Gon Jiu pondered for a moment and immediately followed her. When Wan returned, Wan Cheng was taking out a lot of food for Ning Bai. When Ning Bai saw Wan, she immediately stood up and greeted her. Little Wan, did you find out where we are? How far are we from the imperial city? They won't find us, right? Ning Bai was most afraid of being found. Her fiancé hadn't revived yet. She couldn't die no matter what. A trace of determination flashed across Ning Bai's delicate face. Ning Bai, bad news. Uncle, auntie, and your siblings have been captured. The Cho clan captured them and said that if you don't show up before sunset, they will kill them all. Wan was very concerned about this news and immediately told Ning Bai. My parents! Ning Bai exclaimed. Then, she blacked out and was about to fall. Luckily, Wan Chang caught her and prevented her from falling to the ground. Seeing Ning Bai fainted, Wan Chang glared at his sister. What are you doing? How can you tell her this news? Can't you see that she is exhausted? After scolding Wan Chang fed Ning Bai a potion with heartache. Then, he gently shook her shoulder and called her name. His eyes were filled with tenderness and heartache. Chapter 543. Seeing Ning Bai pass out, Wan Cheng glared at his sister. what are you doing? How can you tell her this kind of news? Can't you see that she is exhausted? After scolding Wan Wan for a while, Wan Cheng fed Ning Bai a potion with heartache. He shook her shoulder gently and called her name. His eyes were full of tenderness and heartache. Wan Wan lowered her head, feeling wronged. It was such an important news and it was related to Ning Bai's parents. How could she pretend that she didn't hear it? If Ning Bai didn't know the news until her uncle and aunt were really in trouble, she would blame herself. She didn't do anything wrong. Everything she did was for Ning Bai's sake, but her brother blamed her for telling Ning Bai and making her worried and sad. Wan Wan had never felt so wronged before. Her brother was no longer the same person who would fight with other children for her sake. Wan Cheng's whole heart was on Ning Bai now. He didn't care what Wan Wan was thinking. After Ning Bai took the potion, she woke up and burst into tears at once. How could this happen? How could they implicate my family? How could Ning Bai not have feelings for her parents? After all, they were her father's relatives who raised her. Although her brothers and sisters weren't her biological brothers, they were her cousins. They grew up together and she treated them as her family. If she didn't care about them, she wouldn't have chosen the sacrificial offerings that were close to her for the sake of those who were far away from her. Ning Bai, what's going on? I heard that you hurt the young lady of the Chiu family. Is that Chiu Ruoxue? I remember you said that you and Chiu Ruoxue had a good relationship when you were young. Why did the Chiu family suddenly attack you? This was what Wan Wan couldn't figure out the most. The Chiu family and the Ning family didn't have any friendship, but Chiu Ruoxue and Ning Bai grew up together. How could the two families suddenly become mortal enemies? Wan Wan really couldn't understand. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know anything. Ning Bai cried bitterly. Her pitiful look made Wan Cheng's heart ache. He was also dissatisfied with his sister. Are you done, Wan Wan? Ning Bai is so sad. I don't want to irritate her anymore. Wan Cheng glared at Wan Wan, his eyes filled with deep dissatisfaction and resentment. Wan Wan shut her mouth. She didn't say anything. She had good intentions, but why did her brother say that she was trying to provoke Ning Bai? Although she felt uncomfortable, she still had some questions to ask. Ning Bai, I know you're very sad now. Do you have any plans now? Do you want to save your parents? Wan Wan, didn't I tell you to stop talking? Do you still want Ning Bai to die? The Chiu family is obviously targeting Ning Bai. If Ning Bai shows up, Qi will fall into the Chiu family's hands. At that time, not only will we not be able to save Ning Bai's parents, but Ning Bai will also be killed, Wan Cheng yelled at his sister with more dissatisfaction in his eyes. In Wan Cheng's eyes, Ning Bai's life was more important than everyone in the Ning clan. The Chiu clan was clearly using the Ning clan as bait to set up a trap for Ning Bai. How could he let Ning Bai do something so stupid like jumping into the trap? Wan Wan stopped talking and just stood aside quietly. She thought Ning Bai would say something. She had to say something whether she would go or not. However, she didn't expect Ning Bai to just cry. She didn't want to go save her parents at all. Wan Wan was shocked. Was this still Ning Bai? Was this still the Ning Bai who was so kind that she couldn't even bear to hurt an aunt? Her parents were in danger, but other than crying, she didn't even think about going to save them. Even if she didn't go, she could beg her big brother. With her big brother's infatuation with her, how could he not save the Ning family? But she didn't say she would go, nor did she ask for help. She just stood there crying. Her tears, which usually made people feel sorry for her, now made her feel cold. "All right, I met Steward Gone at the foot of the mountain just now." Wan Wan had mixed feelings and said faintly. "What? You didn't tell him I was here, right?" Ning Bai asked carefully. "No, I didn't say much and just sent him away." Wan Wan shook her head. "No, we can't stay here anymore. We have to leave this place. We have to leave this place." Ning Bai waved away Wan Cheng's hand on her shoulder and wanted to walk down the mountain. "Ning Bai, what's wrong with you?" Wan Cheng had never seen Ning Bai like this. He was worried and scared. Although he was confused about Ning Bai's change, the Wan siblings were a few steps behind and immediately chased after her. "Family Head Wan, thank you for leading the way." A cold voice was heard. "You're welcome, old Family Head Chio. This is what we should do." Family Head Wan stood beside old Master Chio and had a fawning expression on his face. "Father, how could you bring the Chio family's people here?" Wan Chung looked at his father in shock and anger. His father knew how he felt about Ning Bai. Why did he betray them? "How did you find me?" "Xiao Wan, is it you? Did you leak my whereabouts?" Ning Bai's face was full of resentment. She looked at Wan Wan with a venomous gaze. "Is this still Ning Bai?" Wan Wan's heart turned cold and she couldn't say anything. Even Wan Cheng was suspecting his sister. Out of the three of them, only his sister had left their sight. She also said that she met Gon Jiu. Could it be that she leaked Ning Bai's whereabouts to Gon Jiu? "Xiao Wan, I know you like Ning Bai's fiancé, but that person is already dead. How can you be so vicious to make things difficult for Ning Bai now?" Wan Chung yelled at Wan Wan angrily. Hearing their son blame their daughter for a vicious woman, the Wan family immediately became furious. This unfilial son! If it wasn't for Gon Jiu's intelligence, the entire Wan family would have been dragged down to hell by this pair of children. The families in the city who lost their children were worried about finding someone to vent their anger on. If they helped Ning Bai, the Ning family would suffer today and the Wan family would suffer tomorrow. "You unfilial son! How dare you blame your sister? Let me tell you. This has nothing to do with your sister. It was Gon Jiu who found out. Gon Jiu secretly followed Xiao Wan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found out what you did." When he first heard Gon Jiu's report, he was so scared that his face turned pale. Ning Bai caused too much trouble. Now, everyone was trying to avoid her. Their family was the only one who didn't know what was going on. They were trying to harm the entire Wan family. Chapter 544. When he first heard Gon Jiu's report, he was so scared that his face turned pale. Ning Bai caused too much trouble. Now, everyone was trying to avoid her. Their family was the only one who didn't know what was going on. They were trying to harm the entire Wan family. In his old age, he glared at the son he was so proud of. Why didn't he realize that his son was so stupid? Not one. Wan Cheng was stunned. But he had already said it. If Wan Wan didn't give herself away, Gon Jiu wouldn't have found Ning Bai here. So, Wan Wan wasn't completely innocent. Thinking of this, Wan Cheng felt much better. But Wan Wan was disappointed. Her brother thought so badly of her. After her father told him the truth, he only felt guilty for a moment and then acted as if he didn't do anything wrong. When did they become like this? She remembered that when she was young, her brother loved her the most. But now, what was she in her brother's heart? Even the whole Wan family couldn't compare with Ning Bai in his heart. "Master Wan, if you want to scold your son, please go home." "I don't have so much time to listen to you scolding your son," Master Chio said impatiently. Master Wan immediately stepped aside with a frightened face. "I forgot myself. Master Chio, please don't take offense." Wan Cheng saw his father bowing in front of Master Chio. His father did this in front of the woman he loved, which made him feel more embarrassed than ever. His dissatisfaction with his father also increased. Master Wan stepped aside. Chou family's people immediately surrounded Wan Cheng and Ning Bai. At this time, Chou Ruoxue and Feng Wu also arrived. Hearing that Ning Bai was found, Chou Ruoxue couldn't sit still for even a minute. She immediately rushed to the place where Ning Bai was arrested. On the way, she met Feng Wu and Irene. Feng Wu and Ming she rushed over after hearing the news, while Irene went to watch the fun. Irene was also curious about the most infatuated woman in the novel. It was not easy for a person to be so crazy for love. Such a person was hard to come by in the heavenly wind continent. This Ning Bai might even become a textbook example. Of course, she would definitely be a negative example. Other than Feng Wu and the others, Feng Juntian and Skycliff had also rushed over. Feng Juntian was about to capture Ning Bai and the other two. Unfortunately, they managed to escape using teleportation scrolls. After that, he searched the area but couldn't find anyone. Skycliff also helped to search after killing those who were ordered to stop the robbery. Unfortunately, he still didn't find anything. Fortunately, after hearing about Ning Bai, family head Wan contacted Cho family and provided clues about Ning Bai. In order to catch Ning Bai, the Cho family and the Feng family had posted a large reward outside. However, no one could provide any information about Ning Bai. Fortunately, there was some progress this time. Other than the old master of the Feng family and Feng Tianqing, the current family head, as well as the clueless Madame Lan, everyone from the Feng family who could come was here. It was just to kill Ning Bai, so there was no need to mobilize the two family heads of the Feng family. Old Master Chiu came mainly because the Chiu family had suffered a great loss in the past 2 days. Last time, Chiu Ruoshui caused the Chiu family to suffer a great loss. This time, the Chiu family was implicated by her again. The elders already had a lot of opinions about Chiu Ruoshui. When Chiu Ruoshui caused trouble last time, the Chiu family had already planned to marry her off. Unfortunately, Madame Chiu stopped them. Chiu Ruoshui even threatened to kill herself, so the marriage didn't happen. After this incident, the possibility of Chiu Ruoshui being married increased by 50%. Chiu Ruoshui knew this, so she hated Ning Bai to the core. Ning Bai's move could be said to cost her the rest of her life. Ning Bai, didn't I treat you well? Your fiancé died, and I came to visit you every day. I brought all the delicious food and toys to your house. I treated you with all my heart, but you want me to die. How can you treat me like this? What did I do wrong? Why do you do this to me? And An and the others, they died so miserably. Don't you feel guilty? Chiu Ruoshui pushed through the crowd and rushed to the front. The hatred in her eyes was almost tangible. These 2 days, she was struck by lightning every day. Because she used too much of the family's resources, the elders were very dissatisfied with her. She wasn't like her brother, who was the future heir of the Chiu family. The elders wouldn't give up on him no matter what. She was only a daughter and was destined to marry in the future. If she wasn't the first daughter of the patriarch, the family wouldn't use so many resources for her. But that was all. Tonight, no one would care about her anymore. Her life was up to fate. The Chiu family wouldn't use any demonic weapons for her. The feeling of waiting for death was terrible. No one could understand the fear and terror in her heart. As for Ning Bai, who had caused all this, she hated her to the core. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. Ning Bai held her head and squatted on the ground. She looked like a poor girl who had been bullied. Ning Bai, you really did it. She might not believe it if she heard it from Feng Juntian, but it was Chiu Ruoshui who said it. She knew that Chiu Ruoshui and Ning Bai were very close. If it wasn't true, why would the Chiu family be so nervous and why would Chiu Ruoshui be so resentful? I didn't. Little Wan, believe me, I really didn't. Of course, Ning Bai couldn't admit it. She knew what was waiting for her if she admitted it. She clenched her teeth and didn't say anything. She just put on an innocent and pitiful look. Her face was full of tears and her beautiful big eyes were red. She looked very pitiful. In order to save one person, you sacrificed the souls of 7 good friends. Is it worth it? Chiu Ruobai asked expressionlessly. Of course, Ning Bai couldn't answer her. Chiu Ruobai didn't expect her to answer either. What do you want to do? Ning Bai is innocent. You can't treat her like this. Wan Cheng saw the undisguised killing intent in these people's eyes. Even though he knew he couldn't win, he still stood in front of Ning Bai without hesitation. Ning Bai wanted to leave. When Wan Cheng blocked her, she wanted to secretly tear a teleportation scroll and leave. Unfortunately, it wasn't easy for her to leave in front of a saint-level expert. She had just started tearing the teleportation scroll when old Master Chiu snorted coldly. Ning Bai felt that she couldn't move at all. The pressure from all directions was on her in an instant. Puff! Ning Bai spat out a mouthful of blood. She felt that her bones were about to be crushed. This was the pressure from a saint-level expert, the absolute suppression from strength. Ruoshui, go and kill her to avenge yourself. Old Master Qiu didn't kill Ning Bai. Instead, he looked at Qiu Ruoshui indifferently. Qiu Ruoshui was slightly shocked. Then, she nodded fiercely and took a sword from a guard. She walked toward Ning Bai step by step. Chapter 545. Ruoshui, go and kill her to avenge yourself. Master Qiu didn't kill Ning Bai. He just looked at Qiu Ruoshui and said. Qiu Ruoshui was shocked and then nodded fiercely. She took a sword from a guard and walked to Ning Bai step by step. No. You can't hurt Ning Bai. She's innocent. You can't hurt her. Wan Cheng, who had been stunned by the sudden change, finally came to himself when Qiu Ruoshui walked forward with a sword. He opened his arms to protect Ning Bai. He looked at Qiu Ruoshui as if he was looking at a crazy murderer. Those who didn't know the truth might think they were innocent victims. Instead, the victims became murderers. Shut up. Do you want to hurt our whole family? Master Wan couldn't bear it anymore. He walked forward and knocked out his troublemaker son. Wan, who hadn't said anything, followed her father back to Wan family's camp. After the troublemaker left, Qiu Ruoshui walked forward with a sword in her hand. Her eyes were full of killing intent. Feng Wu stood behind the crowd and looked at what happened as if it had nothing to do with her. Ming Shi held Feng Wu's hand. He frowned but didn't say anything. In fact, he wanted to kill this woman with his own hands. She dared to sacrifice Xiao Wu as a sacrifice. In Ming Shi's eyes, she must die. Irene stood beside Feng Wu and watched the show with great interest. She didn't expect that what should happen would happen when the future was disrupted. Like Wan Cheng. In the novel, he broke off with his family for Ning Bai. Wan Cheng's love for Ning Bai was earth-shattering. After what Ning Bai did was found out, Wan Cheng was the only one who believed in Ning Bai's innocence. He even betrayed his family for her. He was so infatuated with her. Unfortunately, he was destined to be infatuated with the wrong person. Ning Bai only wanted to die with the person she loved. She even killed Wan Cheng when she knew that he wanted to die with her and stay by her side forever. Even if she had to die, she only wanted to die with the man she loved the most. Wan Cheng was nothing in her heart. He had no right to die with them. After Wan found out the truth, she broke off a relationship with Ning Bai. In order to save her brother, she even reported Ning Bai to the Qiu family. She knew that Wan Cheng had never been in Ning Bai's heart. The reason why she let him stay by her side was that she wanted a free and loyal guard. Wan didn't want Wan Cheng to fall into Ning Bai's hands again, so she went to expose Ning Bai's hiding place. She didn't expect that Wan Cheng would hate Wan because of this. He pretended to be remorseful but actually approached Wan on purpose to kill her. This incident also caused a huge uproar in the novel, although the original novel only spent less than a third of the chapter talking about the siblings tomorrow night. Now that Master Wan intervened, the fate of Wan Cheng and Wan Cheng should have changed. At least Wan didn't have to die. She didn't hate Wan. It was a pity for such a nice girl to die. While Irene was lost in her thoughts, Qiu Ruoshui had stabbed Ning Bai's heart with her sword. Ning Bai only had time to scream before she was killed by Qiu Ruoshui. Ning Bai died. She was killed by Qiu Ruoshui in the end. After killing Ning Bai, Qiu Ruoshui also burst into tears. The past 2 days were like hell. Now, she could finally see the sun again. Ning Bai died. Everything was over. This night, there was no thunder and lightning in the sky. The stars in the sky were so beautiful and the moonlight was so gentle. Standing under the moonlight, Qiu Ruoshui was moved to tears. She survived. She really survived. Ming Shi accompanied Feng Wu in the Feng family for 7 days. Later, he had to return to the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. During this time, while he was recuperating, he slowly got in touch with some national affairs. There were still some documents in the study that he needed to deal with. He couldn't leave for a long time. Ming Shi left. Fengwu, Irene, and the others should go back to school. A new semester was about to begin. Did you hear? There's an auditing student with an impressive status. Who? Could it be a princess? Although it's not a princess, it's close. It's the Moon Empress niece. The Moon Empress niece. She has such a big background. Isn't that so? I heard that the Moon Empress wants to tie the knot and let the future heir of the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom marry her. Then won't she be the Moon Empress in the future? Of course. The future Moon Empress is coming. I have to take a good look. When she marries the future Moon Emperor, she won't be someone we can meet whenever we want. Then what are we waiting for? Where is she? Let's go now. No hurry. She will only arrive tomorrow. So that's the case. But there's something I don't understand. Doesn't the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom have their own academy? Why would the future Moon Empress come to our Notre Dame du Starlight? How would I know? Maybe she wants to go to our school. A Jur walked past the two of them with an ashen face. The future Moon Empress. What the hell is this? A Jur was very angry. Tie the knot? What about Xiao Wu? If that hateful Ming Shi didn't plan to marry Xiao Wu, why did he come to provoke her? If he dared to abandon her, he would use the red lotus flame to burn all the hair on his body. A Jur thought with a face full of malice. Xiao Wu, have you heard? Ming Shi is actually going to marry another woman. A Jur angrily found Fengwu and said in a flustered and exasperated manner. Fortunately, there was no one else around. Only Fengwu was sitting under a tree with Little Bun and eating a popsicle. This popsicle was made by Zicheng. It was cold and cool. In a short time, it became popular in the entire Heavenly Wind continent. Fengwu also liked to eat it. She would buy one every day and eat it with Little Bun under the tree. Ming Shi is going to marry someone else? Fengwu heard this and her eyes were filled with confusion. Ming Shi told her that he would marry her after she graduated. He didn't say anything about marrying someone else. Fengwu thought about it carefully. Ming Shi really didn't say anything about it. No, he didn't say anything. Fengwu said seriously. If he really wanted to marry someone else, he would have told you. He would have definitely done it secretly. When you find out, he might have already become a father. Of course, this was a Jur's angry words. As the future emperor of the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom, Ming Shi was destined to ascend to a supreme position. His wedding would definitely be a grand occasion for the entire continent. It was impossible for him to secretly do it. Chapter 546. Ming Shi was the future ruler of the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. He was destined to ascend to a supreme position in the future. His wedding would definitely be a grand occasion for the entire continent. It was impossible for him to secretly hold it. A Jur knew this, but he was still angry. In his eyes, the Fengwu girl was like a little sister to him. How could he watch his beloved little sister get cheated? Although it was impossible to secretly hold a wedding, marrying the Moon Empress niece as a concubine was still very possible. He had to be careful. Oh. Fengwu nodded. After thinking for a while, she took out something from her spatial ring. A Jur saw that it was a communication crystal. What was she trying to do? Could it be? Reality proved that a Jur's guess was correct. Fengwu actually contacted Ming Shi right in front of him. Then, a soft and monotonous voice sounded in his ears. A Jur said that you are going to marry someone else. Is that true? Fengwu looked at the image seriously. Her calm eyes did not have any ripples. If one did not know, they would have thought that she was just asking about the weather today. Or did you eat? I am going to marry someone else. Ming Shi's face stiffened. How could he not know about such a big matter? You are going to marry someone else? Fengwu blinked her big eyes. Absolutely not. The only girl I want to marry is you. There will not be anyone else. Ming Shi looked at Feng Wu seriously. His eyes were sincere. He said that he will not marry anyone else. Feng Wu girl looked at Ajur with satisfaction. She was obviously very satisfied with this answer. Ming Shi said that he would marry her. Xiao Yi was going to be a father soon. Master did not have to worry about her marriage anymore. Happy, Ajur was dumbfounded. Did you not suspect that he was lying at all? Young girl, you're so honest. Be careful you don't get cheated by scum. Ajur, can you tell me where you heard the news that I'm going to marry someone else? Ming Shi smiled dangerously. Those who were familiar with him knew that this was a sign that Ming Shi was angry. Ming Shi was usually not angry. There were not many things that were worth his anger. Under normal circumstances, he would be the gentle and kind Prince Ming Shi. Everyone in the palace also felt that his temper was extremely good. Only a small number of people who had witnessed his methods knew what it meant to be a hypocrite, and what it meant by a dog that bites does not bark. At this moment, Ajur suddenly felt a deep malice from Ming Shi. The news has spread throughout the school. Everyone is saying that you're going to marry the Moon Empress niece. Ajur didn't hide anything. Ming Shi didn't look like he was lying. Could it be that the news was fake? Or maybe Ming Shi didn't know about it. Mother's niece? Are you talking about Hua Jin? Ming Shi stroked his chin and smiled warmly. It was such a warm smile, but why did it feel so cold, as if he had arrived at the Arctic tundra? It must be an illusion. It must be an illusion. I don't know what her name is, but she'll be arriving the day after tomorrow. She said that she's coming to our school to be an auditing student. I don't know what she's thinking. Why did she leave the Royal Academy and come to Notre Dame du Starlight? Ajur grumbled. Because of that woman's arrival, rumors spread throughout the school. If everyone thought that she was Ming Shi's fiancée, then what was Xiao Wu? Just thinking about it made him feel aggrieved. She actually went to Notre Dame du Starlight. She sure is well informed. A cold glint flashed across Ming Shi's eyes. After she arrives, please help me keep an eye on Xiao Wu. I suspect that Hua Jin might be after Xiao Wu, Ming Shi said. Even if you don't tell me, I'll keep an eye on Xiao Wu. What's the relationship between me and Xiao Wu? We're good brothers. Ajur patted his chest and agreed. After bidding farewell to Feng Wu, Ming Shi sat behind his desk with a poker face and subconsciously knocked on the table with one hand. The Hua family and his maternal family were getting more and more restless. Were they still dreaming of having two empresses? His maternal grandmother was thinking too much. They even dared to interfere with the marriage of the crown prince. Looks like it's time for them to recognize their place. After ending the call, Ajur dragged the Feng Wu girl to the streets to have a big meal. He had just lost his temper and urgently needed a large amount of food to replenish his energy. Being angry also required energy, okay? Feng Wu was very much in favor of Ajur's decision to bring her to have a big meal. Now that the little bun had grown teeth, she could eat a lot of things. Following Feng Wu and Ajur, the little bun ate until her tummy was round. Just as they walked out of a grilled fish shop, they unexpectedly bumped into two enemies on the street. These two were Rika and Eve. For some reason, Rika had less contact with Zicheng. As for Eve, she kept in touch with Rika because she had a common enemy, Feng Wu. Even so, it was rare to see the three of them walk together like before. No one knew why Rika had suddenly distanced herself from them. It was because her distancing herself from Zicheng made many people in the mage school dislike her more and more. Zicheng was a second-year mage school student, and her existence was like a goddess. God knows how many men had fallen under her skirt, and how many women had become her life-and-death friends, becoming her loyal lackeys like Eve. If it weren't for the fact that she had a common enemy with Rika, Eve wouldn't have gotten together with Rika. Ajur cursed inwardly for bumping into two annoying women. Of all people, he just had to bump into these two. Feng Wu, on the other hand, didn't feel anything. She held the little bun in her arms and only glanced at the two before looking away. On the other hand, Rika and Eve both felt that they were being ignored by Feng Wu. It wasn't a good feeling to be ignored by the person you hated the most. Eve's temper was explosive to begin with. After being ignored by Fengwu, she wanted to go up and give Fengwu a good scolding. Rika was more rational. She grabbed hold of a Jur who was about to go up and cause trouble. She had suffered a great loss at the hands of a Jur. Even now, the memory of a Jur's methods was still fresh in her mind. Rika said something to Eve, but Eve only snorted disdainfully and walked away without saying anything. Were those two women trying to cause trouble? A Jur couldn't believe their characters. Eve, who usually acted like a black-eyed chicken when she saw Fengwu, walked away so easily. This wasn't right. Why did he have a feeling that someone was trying to cause trouble? If he couldn't figure it out, then he wouldn't think about it. What could those two women do? When the time came, he would just have to deal with it. With that thought, a Jur brought Fengwu and steamed bun to another stall to eat. Chapter 547. Are those two women trying to stir up trouble? A Jur could not believe their characters. Eve, who usually acted like a black-eyed chicken when she saw Fengwu, actually walked away so easily. Something was not right. Why did she have a feeling that someone was up to something? Since she could not figure it out, she decided not to think about it. Anyway, what could those two women do? When the time came, she would deal with whatever came her way. With that thought in mind, a Jur brought Fengwu and steamed bun to eat at another stall. After eating and drinking to their fill, Fengwu returned to the dormitory and heard her roommates talking about Hua Jin again. Only a few people in school knew about Ming Shi's identity. Most people did not know that Ming Shi was the next Moon Emperor of Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. Naturally, they did not know that the niece of the Moon Empress was actually Ming Shi's cousin. Anika and Zilda kept talking about the legendary future Moon Empress. I heard that her name is Hua Jin, and she's the legitimate daughter of the Hua family of Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. Although the Hua family is not considered a top noble family, they have a long history. That's nothing. The key is that she's the Moon Empress niece. Just this identity alone is enough to defeat most of the noble ladies. Isn't that so? Not to mention, she might become the next Moon Empress. I really want to see what she looks like. Hearing that the Moon Empress is gentle and dignified, this Miss Hua Jin should not be too bad. Of course she's not bad. If she's bad, how can she become the next Moon Empress? I heard that the Moon Empress dotes on her a lot and raised her since she was young. If Ming Shi were here, the corners of his mouth would definitely twitch. These were all rumors. Clearly, she was the one who went to the palace and refused to leave. I also heard that Miss Hua Jin was raised as the future Moon Empress since she was young. Ming Shi. Why didn't I know about this? When Miss Hua Jin arrives, I must go and take a look at the girl whom the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom is grooming as the next Moon Empress. She might even be prettier than Senior Ming Shi. Fengwu, definitely not as good looking as Senior Ming Shi. Senior Ming Shi is the best looking. Time flew by. Amidst the anticipation of all the students in the school, the girl who was as beautiful as a fairy and had caught the attention of the future Moon Emperor since she was young, to the point where he had even decided to make her his concubine, all of the above were just the students' imaginations, Hua Jin, finally arrived at the Starlight Academy. Hua Jin's arrival at Notre Dame du Starlight could be said to be the most eye-catching event in recent times. Under everyone's envious, curious, and jealous gazes, Hua Jin entered the Notre Dame du Starlight. Hua Jin had an appropriate smile on her face, which made her look elegant and dignified. Her gentle smile was adorable, and many boys regarded her as a goddess the moment she appeared. This was the future Moon Empress. When they graduated in the future, they could say that they had seen the future Moon Empress when they walked outside. There were quite a number of people who had such thoughts. There were even quite a number of people who wanted to build a good relationship with the future Moon Empress. Everyone only saw the dignified and gentle smile on Hua Jin's face, but they did not know what she was thinking. Is this the school where that B*TCH is studying? Big brother Ming, she can only be mine. How dare the B*TCH snatch him from me? I'll let that B*TCH know the consequences of going against me, Hua Jin. At this thought, the smile on Hua Jin's face became even gentler, causing many to howl. Miss Hua Jin is so noble. Miss Hua Jin is so gentle. She's indeed the future Moon Empress. Waves of exclamations reached Hua Jin's ears, and she felt that her vanity was greatly satisfied. Yes, she would definitely become the future Moon Empress. Like her auntie, she would sit in the position that all women envied and receive everyone's envy and worship. Feng Wu still did not know that Hua Jin was here for her. She was currently sleeping soundly in the dormitory. She dreamed that she and Ming Shi were getting married, and there was a lot of delicious food at the wedding. Her master stood at the side and praised her for finding a good husband to marry. Ming Shi stood at the side and fed her. It was a wonderful feeling. As an auditing student, Hua Jin had to pay accommodation fees to stay in school, and the fees were not cheap. However, as the legitimate daughter of the Hua family in Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom, she did not care about this little bit of money. She was here to attack her love rival. If not for her grandmother's intelligence and planted spies around her auntie, she would not have known that big brother Ming Shi had fallen in love with a junior from the same school as her. Moreover, she was the legitimate daughter of the Feng family, one of the oldest families in the ancient Eastern Kingdom. When she heard this news, she was dealt a heavy blow. Not only was the other party the daughter of an aristocratic family, but the Feng family was also more powerful than the Hua family. How could she fight for this? Fortunately, there was always a way out. She found out that the woman actually had a child out of wedlock. She was even chased out of the Feng family in the past. Later, she got the chance to return to the family after she was admitted to the Notre Dame du Starlight. How could the dignified Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom accept a woman who had a child out of wedlock? That woman clearly had a child with someone else, yet she still clung onto her cousin. How dare she dream of becoming the Moon Empress? She really did not know her place. She did not know what her auntie and uncle were thinking. They actually did not object to this matter. Her auntie would rather have such a woman as her daughter-in-law than her. In what way was she worse than that woman? Although her background was slightly inferior, at least she was innocent. Since young, she had never been close to any man other than her cousin, Ming Shi. Although her auntie had 2 sons, they were not Ming Shi's cousins. She only had a faint relationship with the other 2 cousins. Was this not enough to prove her sincerity? She had clearly saved her auntie's life, yet her auntie did not dare to help her become Ming Shi's cousin's wife wholeheartedly. Fortunately, her grandmother doted on her and would give her advice. If not for her grandmother, she would not have known about that woman. Now, as long as she chased this woman away, she would get her grandmother and mother to put in some effort. Her auntie had always listened to her grandmother since young. She would definitely be able to achieve her wish and become the next Moon Empress of Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. She would. Hua Jin encouraged herself. At the same time, several evil mother ideas surfaced in her mind. Her goal was not to kill Feng Wu. She was here to destroy her. Killing her was the last resort. Once Big Brother Ming Shi found out, he would definitely dislike her even more. Thus, unless absolutely necessary, she could not kill her, but she could destroy her. She wondered how Big Brother Ming Shi would feel if he found out that this woman had made him a cuckold when he was not around. She did not believe that Big Brother Ming Shi would continue to like her. Would her auntie and uncle still agree to let him marry her? Feng Wu was still unaware that there was such a person who not only coveted her future husband, but also wanted her to make him a cuckold. Chapter 548. Hua Jin's arrival did not affect Feng Wu at all. She continued to eat and sleep as usual. Her days were no different from before. On the 2nd day after Hua Jin's arrival, she became an auditor in the Swordmaster faculty. Her decision surprised the entire swordsman department and shocked all the mages so much that their eyeballs almost popped out. If the information they had gathered was correct, this Missy was clearly a wood elemental sorcerer. Why did she become an auditor in the Swordmaster faculty? The sorcerers expressed their confusion. Hua Jin would not explain to them, and the school would not explain either. Under everyone's doubtful and indignant gazes, Hua Jin nonchalantly stepped into Feng Wu's classroom. She's Hua Jin. She's so pretty. She's indeed the future Moon Empress. She's so good-looking. Not only is she pretty, but her family background is also top-notch. That's right. Miss Hua Jin is the Moon Empress's niece. I heard that she grew up in the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom's palace. Children who grow up in the palace are indeed different. She has such a noble temperament. In the eyes of others, Hua Jin's identity was a golden thigh. She was the future Moon Empress. If they did not curry favor with her now, were they going to regret it after she left? Hence, many swordmasters and sorcerers began to circle around Hua Jin. Even the sorcerers came over. These people were all here for Hua Jin. Facing anyone, Hua Jin smiled politely. She had the air of a future Moon Empress. Recently, the atmosphere in the class had become a little strange because of Hua Jin's arrival. Some people could not wait to make their presence known in front of her 24 hours a day, while others did not care about her arrival. Whether she became the Moon Empress in the future or not, it had nothing to do with them. Mo Gue did not care about the crowd. As for Hua Jin, who was being hustled around all day long, other than taking a few curious glances at him out of curiosity, he did not go near him again. Those in the class who did not suck up to Hua Jin were in the minority. After all, aristocrats were also divided into different ranks. Although Hua Jin was not a top-notch aristocrat, her fiancé's status was not ordinary. He was the future Moon Emperor, and Hua Jin was the current Moon Empress's niece. Just this identity alone made her status higher than many other noble ladies. Feng Wu would chat with Ming Shi every day as usual, and they would occasionally talk about Hua Jin in their conversations. However, when it came to Hua Jin, it was as if they were talking about an ordinary stranger. Ming Shi occasionally asked about Hua Jin because he wanted to know what she was doing around Feng Wu. Since Hua Jin appeared at Notre Dame du Starlight, Ming Shi guessed that she most likely already knew about his relationship with Xiao Wu. This time, he probably didn't have good intentions when he went there. Although he did not know what she wanted to do, if she dared to do anything to hurt Xiao Wu, he would not let Hua Jin off, even if his grandmother stepped in. His grandmother was not a simple woman. It was likely that his grandmother had something to do with Hua Jin finding out about Feng Wu. Since he was young, he knew that his grandmother was a very scheming and ambitious woman. When he was young, his grandmother would often enter the palace to accompany him. His mother always thought that it was because she doted on her grandson. Little did he know that his grandmother was only doing this because she wanted him to develop the habit of obeying his grandmother since he was young. In the future, when he succeeded the throne of the Moon Emperor, his dear grandmother could use his identity to do whatever she wanted. She could even use him to become an underground queen. Unfortunately, although his grandmother's idea was beautiful, she did not get what she wanted in the end. His father had long discovered his grandmother's ambition, but on account of his mother, he did not flare up. Instead, he raised the young boy by his side and did not give his grandmother a chance to get close to him. Actually, so what if he gave her a chance? As a descendant of God, he matured much earlier than the average child. She wanted to use him to support the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. Was she not afraid of eating too much? If his grandmother had not given birth to a good daughter, who was the current Moon Empress, his grandmother would have died 10 times over for what she had done. When he was still young, his grandmother's ambition could not be realized. Now, she wanted to support her other granddaughter to be the next Moon Empress. Ming Shi chuckled nobly and coldly. He really did not know who gave his grandmother the guts to want to control the royal family. Ming Shi was not only incredulous about his grandmother's idea, but also extremely disgusted. He really did not understand how such a big-hearted and wild person could give birth to such a docile and kind woman like his mother. Hua Jin's mother's character was clearly very similar to his grandmother's. Regarding this question, neither Ming Shi nor Moon Emperor could get an answer. They could only say that bad bamboo shoots produce good bamboo shoots. While Ming Shi was thinking about his maternal family in the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom, Hua Jin was not idling around. She made many friends with high status in Notre Dame du Starlight. Among these friends, there was one who was very special. This person was none other than Zicheng. As the female lead of the original novel, Zicheng had always been very approachable and could easily win the favor of others. Although Hua Jin was a proud and arrogant girl, she still could not hate Zicheng. When she discovered that Eve, who resented Fengwu, was by Zicheng's side, there was even less reason for her to reject being friends with Zicheng. If she could use this Eve, who hated Fengwu, well, she could even become a sharp sword in her hands. If she could use Eve to achieve her goal, it would save her the trouble of looking for a suitable candidate in the school. Time passed by, and in the blink of an eye, it had been more than a month since school started. During this period, the school was very peaceful. Ajie felt that this was most likely the calm before the storm. He did not think that Miss Hua Jin would come to this school just to study. He was afraid that she had an ulterior motive. On this day, the teacher announced that starting tomorrow, there would be a 3-day off-campus class. The so-called off-campus class was to bring the students to places with lower risks for actual combat practice. The swordmasters were all battle maniacs. If they were to be cooped up in the classroom all day long, it would only destroy these natural warriors. Swordmasters should have more actual combat practice to be able to unleash their strength and improve. Hua Jin was looking for an opportunity to teach Fengwu a lesson. It would be best if she could ruin her reputation. She did not expect the opportunity to come so soon. Early the next morning, Fengwu handed the little bun over to the vice principal to take care of. Every time the vice principal carried the little bun over, he would smile so brightly that a flower was about to bloom on his face. Fengwu had always thought that the vice principal must be very fond of children to be so fond of taking care of Xiao Yi. Fengwu was not the only one who thought so. Many people who knew that the vice principal often helped Fengwu take care of Xiao Yi for free. How would they know what the vice principal was thinking? Chapter 549. The next morning, Fengwu handed Little Bun over to the vice principal to take care of. Every time the vice principal carried Little Bun, he would smile so brightly that a flower could almost bloom on his face. Fengwu had always thought that the vice principal must like children very much to take care of little Yi. Not only Fengwu, but many people who knew that the vice principal often helped Fengwu to take care of little Yi for free had the same thought. How would they know the vice principal's thoughts? When this kid grows up and recovers his memories, he would definitely take out the video he secretly recorded and show it to him. At that time, this kid's face would definitely be very intoxicated. Little Yi blinked his sleepy eyes. Why was it a little cold? Sob sob. Mommy left him and ran away again. He must be the most unlucky little bun. The location of the off-campus teaching this time was the Red Leaves Forest outside the central city. The reason why it was called the Red Leaves Forest was because all the plants in this place had red leaves. There was not a single green leaf to be seen. Not only were the leaves red, even the fruits were red. The only way to distinguish the fruits in the Red Leaves Forest was to look at the appearance. It was impossible to tell the difference from the color because all the fruits here were vermilion red. There was no exception. There were many magical beasts living in the Red Leaves Forest and many precious herbs grew there. Every year, a large number of adventurers and mercenaries would take on missions to enter the Red Leaves Forest to search for certain herbs. Of course, there were also missions to hunt magical beasts that could be completed here. Their class's mission this time was to go in and find a kind of herb called rare cage grass. This rare cage grass was a kind of herb that would be added into many potions. This kind of herb was not very expensive, but it only grew in a few places, and the Red Leaves Forest was one of the places where rare cage grass could grow. Their mission this time was to enter the forest to search for rare cage grass. Whoever could gather the most rare cage grass after 3 days would get a high score from the teacher. On the contrary, if the amount of rare cage grass was gathered or not gathered at all, it was very likely that they would only get a very low score, or even no score at all. The Red Leaves Forest is so big, and the places where rare cage grass grows are not concentrated. If we want to get a high score, it seems that we can only go deeper into the Red Leaves Forest. But there are many powerful magical beasts living in the depths of Red Leaves Forest. It's too dangerous. That's true. Why don't we form a team, and we'll divide the precious cage grass equally according to our contribution? Good idea. It's too dangerous to move alone. It's safer to form a team. There was a lot of chatter around. About half of them definitely formed a team to do the task together. The other half still felt that they could get more rare cage grass if they acted alone, so they chose to be lone wolves. Feng Wu naturally formed a two-person team with Mo Gue, while Hua Jin moved with a few other girls whom she was close to. Hua Jin quietly watched as Feng Wu and Mo Gue walked into the Red Leaves forest. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. Feng Wu, you'll be abandoned by Gij Ming Shi in 3 days. Feng Wu and Mo Gue were good friends, so there was no problem for them to form a team this time. Other teams might have all kinds of disputes over the distribution of rare cage grass, but the two of them did not have to worry about it. Since there were only 2 of them, they could just divide the rare cage grass equally. There was no need for them to quarrel. The magical beasts that lived in Red Leaves Forest were not aggressive. Most of them were afraid of humans. As long as they saw the shadow of a human, they would run in another direction. There were also some magical beasts that were just the opposite. These magical beasts were very aggressive. They would attack humans when they saw them, and they were very aggressive. Fortunately, such aggressive magical beasts were rare. Under normal circumstances, as long as they did not cause trouble, the magical beasts would turn a blind eye to humans. Rare cage grass was a plant that grew very easily, but it only liked to grow in specific places. In places where it liked to grow, it would grow very quickly and in large numbers. Every time they found a place with rare cage grass, they would be able to pick at least 10 stalks. In places where there were more, they could even pick up more than 50 stalks. Feng Wu and Mo Gue's luck had always been good. In less than a day, they had already picked more than 200 stalks of rare cage grass. As there were too many people picking, many places had already been preempted by others. In less than a day, most of the rare cage grass that grew in the periphery had been picked. They had no choice but to go deeper into the forest. At night, they casually found a place to start a bonfire and ate all kinds of food that had been prepared in advance. They did not feel sad. Xiao Wu, what are you talking about with this little guy? Mo Gue ate a roasted drumstick and looked curiously at the fiery red bunny in Feng Wu's arms. This little bunny was just an ordinary little magical beast. This little magical beast was called Fire Bunny. It could spit out flames to attack enemies. It was very timid and would run away at the sight of strangers. If not for Feng Wu being here, this little guy would never dare to come over. Little Red said that there is a place with a lot of rare cage grass up ahead. She can take me there tomorrow. Feng Wu stroked the bunny's fur and turned to look at Mo Gue. That's great. This little bunny is really interesting. Mo Gue was very satisfied with the little bunny's performance. He casually wondered if he should pick something that the little bunny liked to eat nearby as a thank you gift. Little bunny, I'll help you pick some wild fruit tomorrow. Tell Xiao Wu what you want to eat. I'll pick it and give it to you as a thank you gift. Mo Gue also knew that the little bunny wanted to help Feng Wu and had nothing to do with him. Since he had benefited from it, it was not unacceptable to give the little bunny some wild fruit as a thank you gift. As for Feng Wu, he would treat her to a good meal when he returned. It's decided then. The little bunny could understand human language and naturally knew what Mo Gue was saying. After calling out twice, Feng Wu helped translate. The little bunny said that she wanted to try the fruits outside Red Leaves Forest. Mo Gue thought for a moment and remembered that he still had some spirit fruits in his spatial ring that were good for the body. Thus, he picked out 2 large fruits that were full of water and could increase one's magic power and handed them to the little bunny. The little bunny wanted to eat the fruits but didn't dare, so Feng Wu carried it over. The little guy first sniffed at the fruits with his little nose, then opened his mouth and ate them in small bites. As he ate, he let out surprised cries from time to time, clearly very satisfied with the fruits. After eating the 2 spirit fruits, the little bunny was no longer so afraid of Mo Gue. Feng Wu and the little bunny chatted while Mo Gue sat to the side and listened. Unfortunately, the little bunny's beast language was beyond his comprehension. Fortunately, he could guess what the little bunny was saying through Feng Wu's words. Chapter 550. After eating the 2 spirit fruits, the little rabbit was no longer so afraid of Mo. Feng Wu and the little rabbit talked while Mo sat on the side and listened. Unfortunately, the little rabbit's animal language was beyond his comprehension. Fortunately, he could guess what the little rabbit was talking about through Feng Wu's words. After a night's rest, Feng Wu and Mo followed the little rabbit to the place where a lot of lantern grasses were said to grow. After following the little rabbit for about half an hour, they finally saw the rare cage grasses behind a large bush. Just like the little rabbit said, the rare cage grasses grew very densely, with more than 50 of them. This was the most rare cage grasses the 2 of them had found so far. After spending a few minutes picking all the mature rare cage grasses, the 2 said goodbye to the little rabbit who helped them and continued to walk into the bush. The fire rabbit's range of activity was also in this area. They were naturally timid and would never leave their living area. The 2 walked for another 2 hours. Along the way, they met many people from other teams and some students who walked alone. It wasn't that no one wanted to rob them directly, but it was a pity that students from the same school killed each other. The only way to get the rare cage grasses in the other person's spatial magic tool was to kill the other person and make the spatial magic tool an ownerless object. Otherwise, it was easier said than done to get the other person to hand it over. Anyway, at most they would be beaten up. As long as they survived, it would be fine. Who hadn't been beaten up these days? The robber failed, but the robbed survived. In order to protect the rare cage grasses, these guys would rather be beaten into national treasures than let others rob them. Probably because robbing was useless, smart people wouldn't waste time on useless things. Therefore, other than the first wave of robbers, no one thought they were smart enough to rob others. However, the fight for the rare cage grasses became more and more intense. Sometimes, 2 or 3 teams would find a nest of rare cage grasses at the same time, and they had no choice but to fight. The 3 teams would immediately fight each other. If no one won, no one would be able to get past the other 2 teams to take the nest of rare cage grasses. The tense atmosphere did not affect Feng Wu and Mo in the slightest. Although they were not involved in the chaos, they had encountered other troubles. Xiao Wu, don't walk so fast. Wait for me. The adoring voice didn't come from Mo, but from a blonde boy that no one recognized. This boy had brilliant blonde hair and a pair of sapphire-like blue eyes. When he smiled, he was exceptionally warm. He was the living embodiment of a warm man. His name was Gammon, and he was the man that Feng Wu and Mo had saved 20 minutes ago. At that time, Feng Wu and the others had found this young man, Mo, lying under a big tree. Moreover, he had suffered quite a few injuries. Since they had seen him, the 2 of them couldn't pretend that they hadn't seen anything. Thus, Mo took out a healing potion from his spatial magic tool and treated the young man's external injuries. As for his internal injuries, they had to think of something themselves. After the young man woke up, he insisted that it was Feng Wu who had saved his life. He even took the initiative to follow by Feng Wu's side to repay her kindness. Mo was dumbfounded. No matter how he looked at it, he was clearly the one who had saved him. Why did Gammon say that Xiao Wu was the only one who had saved him? He was such a big person, how could he not see? It was Mo who saved you. Feng Wu stopped and looked at Gammon with a serious expression. Xiao Wu, in my heart, you are my savior. I believe that the heavens wanted me to meet you because they wanted something to happen between the 2 of us. This is fate's arrangement. I am a person who believes in fate. Gammon said affectionately. What do you want to happen? Emogue's dark voice sounded from behind him. Gammon rubbed his ears and turned his head without much care, only to see Emogue's dark face. Brother Emogue, can you please not disturb me and Xiao Wu from cultivating our relationship? Gammon said. You 2 have no relationship. What a hateful, flirtatious pretty boy. He wanted to rely on his pretty face to seduce the Feng Wu girl. In his dreams. It's precisely because we don't that we need to cultivate. Gammon's smile became even more brilliant. There's no need to cultivate. We've only met by chance, so let's go our separate ways. Mo Gue grabbed the dazed Fengwu girl and pulled Fengwu deeper into the forest without looking back. He couldn't let Fengwu fall for that fellow's sweet words. Gammon could only continue to chase after them, stubbornly pursuing them. After 3 days of off-campus teaching, the students were all covered in dirt. In these 3 days, if they weren't fighting with their classmates for the precious cage grass, they were fighting with magical beasts to save their lives. It was a busy day. When the teacher tallied up the results 3 days later, everyone felt like they had been reborn. Even the low-key Fengwu and Mo Gue had been embroiled in 2 chaotic battles, let alone the others. At the end of the class, the teacher humanely gave them 2 days off, letting them use these 2 days to rest and adjust their state of mind. This kind of off-campus teaching would increase in the future, so everyone had to get used to it as soon as possible. When Fengwu and Mo Gue returned to school, they threw gammon to the back of their minds. At this time, no one would have thought that because of this gammon, there would be a huge uproar in the future Notre Dame du Starlight. Let's not talk about this for now. The Fengwu girl went off-campus for 3 days of off-campus teaching, while the other 2 transmigrated girls had very fulfilling and busy lives. The original female lead Zicheng finally followed the predestined fate of being together with the male lead, Caesar. Shouzo plotted several times to get rid of Caesar's favorable impression of Zicheng, but in the end, he didn't succeed. In the end, the 2 of them were still together. Shouzo had no choice but to give up on his plan to save Caesar. Not long after Zicheng and Caesar got together, they met the demon ancestor's primordial spirit in the virtual realm and reached an agreement. The birth of the demon ancestor couldn't be avoided. With Zicheng's help, it was believed that the demon ancestor would soon bring a storm of blood to the human world. Irene, who was always paying attention to Zicheng, noticed Zicheng's strange movements early on. Although she wanted to stop it, she knew that she couldn't fight the demon ancestor. The demon ancestor's accident was a catastrophe for the human world. It was also an experience arranged for the human world by the world's will. If they died in this experience, they could only blame themselves for being unlucky and not being strong enough. They couldn't blame anyone else. Chapter 551. Irene watched as Zicheng kept contacting the demon Alpha. She wanted to stop him, but she couldn't because she was too weak. She couldn't expose Zicheng. First of all, she couldn't explain how she found out about this. She couldn't tell others that she had transmigrated and that this world was just a novel. If she dared to say that, she believed that in the next second, the Star Hall Master and the Dean of the school would come and talk to her about life. She didn't want to be treated as a monster or executed by Deep Well Ice. Irene tried her best to stop Zicheng from connecting with the Demon Alpha. She tried her best to stop Zicheng from accepting the mission related to the Demon Alpha. Unfortunately, fate couldn't be changed. For example, the Demon Alpha's birth wasn't something that Irene could change. If the world's consciousness wanted the Demon Alpha to come out, who could stop it? In the original story, Zicheng didn't know the Demon Alpha's true identity. He only thought that he was an old senior who was trapped in the virtual world. In order to gain the other party's favor, he didn't hesitate to accept the Demon Alpha's reward. Unfortunately, she didn't know that the Demon Alpha wasn't given to her as a fighter. Instead, it was deliberately released by the world's consciousness to cause trouble. No matter how Irene felt, no matter how the story developed, it had nothing to do with Fengwu. After 3 days of teaching outside the school, Xiaochun finally woke up. After waking up, Xiaochun's strength was even stronger. Fengwu girl used Xiaochun to practice her sword skills every day. After leveling up, Xiaochun's intelligence had a big increase. At least, it wouldn't be like before when it didn't care about stuttering. Xiaochun had learned to think for Fengwu now, and it decided that it couldn't rush into action all the time unless it absolutely had to. If Fengwu couldn't use its full potential, it would be more difficult for him to level up in the future. What was a sword? Swords were weapons, and weapons were meant to be used by people. If a sword could charge out and kill enemies on its own, then what was the point of having a sword master? Although a sword's aptitude was extremely important if it wanted to advance in rank, a good sword master was the most important. If it couldn't find a suitable sword master, it would be impossible to advance to the top. Every divine sword had a powerful power waiting for its master to start. The power of a pure sword was not as simple as purifying evil chi and demonic chi. Its other powers could only be fully unleashed by its master. Even a sword like Xiaochun, which had already gained sentience, could not use other powers beyond its master. The Fengwu girl was in a particularly good mood after Lil Sword woke up. When she chatted with Ming Shi in the evening, she also told Ming Shi about it. Ming Shi congratulated her with a smile. The peaceful days didn't last long before Fengwu ran into some trouble. Gammon was also a student of Notre Dame du Starlight and a 7th grade student. This news surprised both Fengwu and Mo Gue. No matter how they looked at it, they couldn't associate that guy with a 7th grade student of Notre Dame du Starlight. As a 7th grade senior, he came to the 2nd grade classroom every day to pester a junior with a bad reputation. Furthermore, this senior was one of the school's most handsome boys. He could even be ranked in the top 20 of the school's most handsome boys list. Most importantly, not only was he good-looking, but his family was also one of the top-notch nobles in Liang country. It was said that they had a good relationship with the Liang royal family. That such a family would fancy Fengwu, who had already given birth to a child, was definitely something that would make a lot of people's jaws drop. For a moment, all kinds of rumors that had already died down appeared again. This time, it was even bigger than the previous one. Fengwu's various dark histories were dug up. Everywhere, people said that Fengwu seduced men. Ming Shi wasn't around, so she liked Gammon, who had the same hair color and blue eyes as Ming Shi. Many girls felt sorry for this senior who had been kept in the dark. It was simply intolerable that he had been deceived by such a bad woman. The girls' attitudes towards Fengwu became worse and worse. Some of Gammon's suitors would often run to the 2nd grade swordmaster classroom. Every time they saw Fengwu, they would tell her to be clear of her status. Whether it was Ming Shi or Gammon, they were all not to be thought of. Fengwu blinked her large eyes, not understanding. When the girls who had come to protest saw that Fengwu didn't even dare to say a word and looked like she was scared silly, confused, they all left satisfied. Gammon insisted on looking for Fengwu every day, no matter the weather, but Fengwu ignored him. Mo Gue and Ajur, on the other hand, found Gammon even more of an eyesore. It was all because of Gammon. If it weren't for him, Xiao Wu wouldn't have gotten into such trouble. There's something wrong with that Gammon, Ajur said seriously. I think so too. Although it seems like he's pursuing Xiao Wu on the surface, he's actually pushing Xiao Wu into a whirlpool of trouble. As a 7th grade student, how could that guy not know that the school is disliking Fengwu because of him? Yet he still comes to look for Fengwu every day, bringing hatred to her. This guy's intentions are clearly sinister. That's not all. Don't you think that the rumors about Fengwu have been spreading too fast lately? It had only been a day, but it felt like the entire school was talking about it. He couldn't believe that there wasn't someone behind this. You're saying that there's someone behind Gammon? Or that he spread those rumors himself and directed public opinion so that Fengwu would be isolated by the entire school and hated by the other students? Mo Gue exclaimed. Mo Gue's mind raced, and he even figured out Gammon's motive for doing this. No, rather than him being behind all this, I believe that Gammon was just hired by someone. There must be someone behind him who hates Xiao Wu deeply and wants nothing more than to see Xiao Wu suffer. Who could that person be? There are only 2 people who hate Xiao Wu. One is Eve, and the other is Rika. Both of them never hide their hatred for Xiao Wu. Do you think it could be them? Mo Gue thought about it and could only think of 2 suspicious people. Unexpectedly, Ajur shook his head. It's not them. You know how capable they are. Do you think that with their abilities, they would be able to hire a 7th grade student like Gammon to frame Fengwu? Mo Gue thought about it and realized that Gammon was right. Although the 2 girls had the motive, they didn't have the ability. To be able to fan the flames of the entire school and even get a 7th grade student to help, they couldn't be ordinary nobles. Whether it was Rika or Eve, neither of them had enough status to do such a thing. Besides, with how much they hated Fengwu, if they really had a way to get a 7th grade student to deal with Feng Wu, they wouldn't have waited until now to do it. Chapter 552. Emogue thought about it and realized that it was true. Although the two girls had the motive, they didn't have the ability. To be able to fan the flames in the school and get a 7th grade student to help, they were probably not ordinary aristocrats. Be it Rika or Eve, the two of them didn't have the status to do this. It was impossible for them to do this. Besides, given how much they hated Feng Wu, if they really had a way to get a 7th grade student to deal with Feng Wu, why would they wait until now to make a move? If they wanted to make a move, they would have done it long ago. Eve and Rika were not patient people. Then who do you think it is? Emogue thought about it, but he could not think of anyone who hated Feng Wu so much. Have you forgotten about Hua Jin? Who can hate Xiao Wu more than her? Ajur had never let down his guard against Hua Jin. Although she had not made a move against Xiao Wu, Ajur felt that she was probably hatching some evil plan to deal with Xiao Wu. When Gammon's incident happened this time, Ajur felt that Hua Jin had finally made a move. Hua Jin. That's right, how could I forget her? She's indeed a suspect, but she hasn't had any contact with Xiao Wu until now. Is it really her? Emogue asked suspiciously. I'm more than 90% sure that it's her. Unless there's an enemy we don't know about, no one else has the means and ability to do this. Emogue nodded in agreement with Ajur. The two of them agreed to keep an eye on Hua Jin in the future. They did not believe that she would not give herself away. Gammon still came to look for Feng Wu every day, vividly showing his unconditional love for Feng Wu. Feng Wu continued to ignore him, but he did not care. He reported to the 2nd grade of the Swordmaster faculty every day and spent more time in the 2nd grade than in the 7th grade. I really can't tell. Some people really have some tricks up their sleeves. She can even hook up with a 7th grade senior. Rika blocked Feng Wu in the living room. Rika, there must be some kind of misunderstanding. Xiao Wu has never paid any attention to Gammon. Anika said helplessly. Ever since Zicheng and the others appeared, Annika and Rika had drifted apart. Apart from attending classes in the same classroom and sleeping in the same dorm, there was nothing else between them. Feng Wu blinked her big eyes. Everyone in the school had been very strange recently. Although she did not understand what had happened, she knew that all these changes had something to do with Gammon. She did not like him from the first time she met him. Because she did not like him, she ignored him. Although his hair and eyes resembled Ming Shi's, Ming Shi was much better looking. Feng Wu said that she preferred to watch the original version and was not interested in pirated versions. Feng Wu ignored him, but he still showed up every day. Feng Wu expressed that she was not happy. It would be strange if she was happy to be pestered by an annoying person. Gammon's appearance and the things he did, such as coming to look for her every day and waiting for her after school. Feng Wu told Ming Shi everything without missing a word. This was something that Hua Jin would never have dreamed of. He thought that Feng Wu would not dare to tell Ming Shi about these things. After all, who would want their boyfriend to know that they were in a scandal with another man? However, Feng Wu did just that. Not only did she say it, but she also said it every day. She even told him that she did not like Gammon and that he came to look for her. Ming Shi patiently listened to Feng Wu talk about her daily life every day. He was already wary of Gammon, not because he was afraid that he would snatch Feng Wu away, but because he was worried that he would hurt Feng Wu. Feng Wu had always been slow to notice the outside world, so she did not feel anything about the scandal in the school. Ajur and Emogue saw that Feng Wu was completely unaware that her reputation had been tarnished again, so they naturally did not take the initiative to bring it up. What they did not expect, however, was that although they could fend off verbal attacks in the classroom and school, they could not do so in the dormitory. Rika had been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. She had always wanted to teach Feng Wu a lesson. Whenever she thought of the humiliation Ajur had brought her, it was impossible for her not to hate Feng Wu. She did not even realize that this hatred was mixed with envy and jealousy. In fact, she was envious of Feng Wu and jealous that she could be so protected by someone who could not bear to see her suffer. She had never had a friend who would go to such lengths for her. Although aristocratic ladies and young masters like her would be friends with people of similar status, this friendship was for the benefit of both families. As long as their families did not fall, they could be friends for life. However, if their families were no longer around, forget about being friends. It would be good enough if other people did not take the opportunity to step on them. Because of this reason, and also because she knew that she was no match for Ajur, she shifted her hatred to Fengwu. She was happy to see Fengwu unhappy. Rika, we are all in the same dormitory. Can you not make trouble like this? Silda had always disliked Rika's temperament. She always put on the airs of a young lady. Her family was only a small aristocratic family. Did she have to put on such airs? Did she forget that Fengwu was the legitimate young lady of the Feng family? In terms of status, she was the girl with the best family background in their entire dormitory. In the past, Rika looked down on Fengwu because of the superiority of aristocrats over commoners. However, now that everyone knew Fengwu's true identity, why did she still find trouble with Fengwu from time to time? Could it be because Ajur taught her a lesson last time? But it had been so long since that incident, and the one who taught her a lesson was not Xiao Wu. If she had a temper and resentment, she could vent it on Ajur. Why did she have to find trouble with Xiao Wu? She wanted to pinch a soft persimmon. How am I making trouble? I just can't bear to see her acting as if nothing happened. Now, everyone in the school is saying that her character is corrupt. She even seduced Senior Gamo. Last time, she even proposed to Senior Ming Shi in front of everyone. It's best for you to stay away from a woman like her, so as to avoid her tarnishing your reputation. Rika did not feel that she was in the wrong. For a person with such a bad reputation, staying in their dormitory would only affect everyone. It would be best if she could be kicked out. Then, nothing would happen. Unfortunately, kicking someone out of the dormitory was not something she could do just by thinking about it. Unless the other two also applied to the school, Fengwu would definitely not move out of the dormitory. Speaking of this, I also want to ask you, are you the one who spread rumors about Xiao Wu? Are you the one who spread those rumors? Are you doing this to kick out Xiao Wu? Chapter 553. Unfortunately, chasing someone out of the dorm wasn't something she could do just by thinking about it. Unless the other two also applied to the school, Fengwu definitely wouldn't move out of the dorm. Speaking of which, I also wanted to ask you, are you the one who spread rumors about Xiao Wu? Are you the one who spread those rumors? Are you doing this to chase Xiao Wu away? The rumors outside were too targeted. Moreover, it wasn't the first time Xiao Wu's past had been spread. It was only this time that it caused such a huge commotion. It was as if Xiao Wu had become some heinous villain just because she had a 7th-grade suitor. With these rumors spreading to such an extent, she would be the first to believe that there was no one behind it. And the ones worthy of suspicion were the two girls, Rika and Eve. The two of them didn't get along with Xiao Wu. It was a secret that spread throughout the entire 2nd grade. Faced with Silda's aggressive questioning, Rika was first stunned, then her expression changed in anger. Don't pour dirty water on me. I admit that I don't like her. If there's a chance, I don't mind using underhanded means behind her back. But this time, it has nothing to do with me. If it wasn't done by me, no one can blame it on me, Rika shouted back. If it's not you, then it has to be Eve. The two of you hang out together every other day. If she's involved, then you'll be involved as well. Who would believe that it had nothing to do with her? In any case, she, Silda, didn't believe it. It wasn't done by me, and it wasn't done by Eve. It has nothing to do with the two of us. Rika gritted her teeth in anger. If they were the ones who did it, it would be fine if they were criticized. But the problem was that this had nothing to do with them. This blame. Other than the two of you, can't you find a third person in the entire school who hates Xiao Wu so much? Silda didn't believe it. Not only Silda, even Anika didn't quite believe it. That's hard to say. How do you know that no one else in the school hates her? How can you be so sure? Rika smiled coldly. Of course I'm sure. Other than narrow-minded girls like her and Eve, who else would hate Xiao Wu so much? Stop quarreling, you two. We're all roommates, there's no need to quarrel like this. Seeing that they wouldn't stop arguing for a long time, Annika had no choice but to put her hand between them and helplessly mediate between them. Isn't it all because of her? She actually wronged me, Rika said angrily. I think you're just pretending, Silda replied with a cold snort. Rika was about to retort again when she inadvertently looked to the side and found that Feng Wu had disappeared. Where is she? Where did she go? Rika asked Annika with a dark expression. They had quarreled like this because of her. How could she run away without saying anything? Could she be any more shameless? When Rika mentioned it, Silda finally realized that Feng Wu had actually disappeared. She looked around and sure enough, Feng Wu was nowhere to be seen. She looked at Annika in confusion and begged for her explanation just like Rika did. When you two were quarreling, Feng Wu had already gone upstairs. She had wanted to say it for a long time, but she hadn't found the chance to interrupt. After Annika finished speaking in a low voice, she immediately retreated to avoid being hit by a stray bullet. What? Rika roared loudly, clearly quite angry. She had excitedly come to see Feng Wu make a fool of herself, but she hadn't expected that Feng Wu wouldn't feel anything. Instead, she was furious at Feng Wu. What the hell was this? Silda rubbed her nose impatiently. The main character had already left, so it seemed that this fight couldn't continue. It was rare for her to have a chance to teach Rika a lesson. If Rika knew what Silda was thinking, she would most likely spit out a small amount of blood from anger. Back in the room, Feng Wu and Ming, she began chatting about her current life and some things that had happened in school. Of course, these were all things she had experienced and some gossip she had heard. Because all the gossip in school was related to her, with Mo Gue and Ajur around, Feng Wu didn't hear any unnecessary rumors. This also prevented Feng Wu from telling Ming she too much gossip. Fortunately, Ming she didn't want to hear any gossip. He just wanted to hear Feng Wu talk. No matter what Feng Wu said, he would like to hear it. Today, Gammon came to the classroom to wait for me again. I already said that I don't like him. Why does he still come every day? Ajur and Mo Gue accompanied me to eat delicious fried meatballs today. The fried meatballs were delicious. We'll go together when you come back. Xiao Yi is running around more and more. Today, he ran into another forest again. The teacher guarding the forest sent him back. The teacher told me to keep an eye on him and not let him run around again. I told him not to run around, but Xiao Yi is always disobedient. The teacher said that a good child should listen to the adults. Isn't Xiao Yi a good child? Bad children who don't listen will be taken away by traffickers. I have to keep an eye on Xiao Yi. I can't let him be taken away by traffickers. When I returned to the dormitory, Rika stopped me and said a lot of things. I didn't understand. Later, she and Silda got into an argument, so I went upstairs by myself. Silda said that the rumors outside were spread by Rika to drive me away. But why would Rika want to drive me away? This isn't her home, right? Isn't she the only one who has the right to drive others away when she's in her own home? When Feng Wu spoke, she would always say whatever came to her mind. Fortunately, he could still understand what she was saying. This silly girl didn't even know that someone was making things difficult for her. Ming she felt helpless. From what Feng Wu said every day, Ming she knew that the rumors outside were getting worse. If he did not find a way to solve it, Xiao Wu's reputation would be severely damaged. Unfortunately, Ajur and the rest did not find any useful clues. Ajur was aware that Ajur was investigating Gammon. However, there was no progress in this investigation. Some of the information about Gammon seemed to have been embellished. It was so perfect that it was unbelievable. It was easy to investigate his interpersonal relationships, but none of the people he interacted with had such deep malice toward Feng Wu. What's more, they wanted to find out more about Hua Jin and Jia Mo's interactions, so there was no way they could find out anything about that. Ming Shi was not surprised by this result. Hua Jin was his grandmother's favorite granddaughter. Although she appeared to be innocent and obedient in front of her parents, she was actually very scheming. Under his grandmother's guidance, her scheming and means were not bad. Since Hua Jin wanted to do something, why would she leave any evidence for others to use against her? It was normal that they could not find any evidence. Since they could not find any evidence to prove that Hua Jin and Gammon were colluding, they could not let themselves be passive forever. It was necessary to change their strategy. Chapter 554. Since Hua Jin wanted to do something, why would she leave any evidence that could be used against her? It was normal for them not to be able to find any evidence. Since they could not find evidence to prove that Hua Jin and GRMO were colluding, they could not let themselves be in a passive position forever. It was necessary for them to change their strategy. GRMO had been doing well recently. He did not understand why a dignified daughter of the Hua family, who was also the Moon Empress's niece, would go through so much trouble to frame a second-year girl. Although the girl was the Feng family's legitimate daughter, it was still not worth it for her to do so. However, this had nothing to do with him. He had gotten enough benefits from doing so, and this was more important than anything else. Besides, Hua Jin was going to be the Moon Empress's woman in the future. Building a good relationship with her now would be of great help to his status in the family. Xiao Jin, I've done what you asked me to do. That Fengwu looks dull. What did she do to provoke you to make you go through so much trouble to torment her? Hua Jin's image appeared in Jia Mo's room through the communication crystal. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to help me completely ruin her reputation. It's best if she can no longer stay in school and voluntarily withdraw from school, Hua Jin said viciously. I'm afraid that will be a little difficult. Although Fengwu is a little bad, she's not the kind of girl who will cry over rumors. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get her to withdraw from school. After hanging around Fengwu for so long, GRMO had a good grasp of Fengwu's character. There had been so many rumors in school recently, but it did not seem to affect her at all. She continued to eat and drink every day, and she did not care about a handsome man like him. He really did not know how such a woman could exist in this world. She was so careless that it was beyond imagination. You still have to do it. If this isn't enough, think of a way to ask her out and find a few men to serve her well. We'll help her do some publicity. I don't believe she can still stay here, Hua Jin said with a face full of resentment. In order to marry Ming Shi, she would do anything, let alone just drive away a bitch who overestimated herself. Isn't this too much? Didn't we agree to just ruin her reputation? Now that her reputation is ruined, you've achieved your goal, haven't you? Although he wanted to curry favor with the future Moon Empress, which would be of great help to him when he fought for the position of the successor of the family in the future, he had never thought of using such a vicious method to deal with an ignorant little girl. Too much. Have you gone overboard with what you did to those girls in the past? I remember there was a woman who was pregnant with your child. Didn't you order her to be disposed of? Now, you're telling me that I've gone overboard. You're really funny. Hua Jin chuckled meaningfully. You. That was a dark history that he did not want to talk about the most. It was also something that he did not want anyone to know about, yet Hua Jin actually used it to shut him up. You don't want your family and the other aristocratic families to know about this, right? If you don't want to, then help me get this done. When I become a prince's wife in the future and ascend to the throne, I'll definitely reward you. If you don't do it, think about the consequences yourself. With that, Hua Jin sneered and hung up the call. Gammon gripped the communication crystal tightly with a gloomy face. There seemed to be a storm brewing in his eyes. More than 2 years ago, he met a woman. That woman was only the daughter of a small aristocrat, but she was beautiful and had a gentle and likable personality. He dated her for a period of time, but that woman was too greedy. She actually wanted to marry him and even plotted to get pregnant with his child. His future wife was naturally not up to him to decide. Even if he could make the decision, he would not marry the daughter of a small aristocrat. Marrying her would only benefit her family, he would not gain anything from it. Gammon was an ambitious man. He wanted to stand out in his family and be the best among his brothers. To achieve this, it was necessary for him to have a strong and powerful in-laws. Having a concubine's son before the official son was born was a big taboo in the aristocratic families. If people found out, who would want to marry their daughters to him? Gammon did not want to kill that woman, but she was too insensible. When he did not agree to marry her, she actually went to his school and made a scene at his school, forcing him to marry her. When they first started dating, the two of them had already agreed to part on good terms. He had always thought that she understood and would not pester him too much. Unexpectedly, he was wrong. That woman understood, but that did not stop her from having her own plans. In the end, the two could not come to an agreement. Gammon had no choice but to take action and kill everyone who knew about it. That woman was already dead. There was no way he would let his brothers get hold of such a big piece of evidence. It was just that he did not expect Hua Jin to know about it, too, and even be used by her to threaten him. His meeting with Hua Jin was an accident. Once, when he went to Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom with his parents to visit friends, he met Hua Jin at a wedding ceremony. As Hua Jin was the Moon Empress's niece, he was interested in befriending her. Hua Jin did not hate him, so the two had some contact, albeit not a deep one. Gammon wanted to deepen their relationship, but he hadn't found the opportunity. He didn't expect that the opportunity would come knocking on his door this time. It was just pranking a girl. This was a small matter to him, so he immediately agreed. He did not expect that what he thought would be a nasty prank would become more serious. If Hua Jin hated Feng Wu, why didn't she just get someone to kill her? She was just a second-year student. Even if she was a 10th seat student, how powerful could she be? With Hua Jin's status, it was too easy to kill such a little girl. However, she did not kill Feng Wu. Instead, she came up with such a troublesome show to ruin her reputation and drive her out of school. Gammon could not tell what Hua Jin was thinking, nor could he figure out what she was thinking. Now that Hua Jin had something on him, he had no choice but to do it. Although he felt sorry for Feng Wu, he had no choice but to do it in order to keep this secret. Feng Wu did not know that Hua Jin had already thought of another vicious plan to deal with her. Furthermore, his method was cruel and ruthless. It was much better than Eve and Rika's. These few days, the rumors about Feng Wu had developed again. A few people who claimed to be Feng Wu's suitors ran outside the second-year swordmaster faculty to wait for Feng Wu. These people were all tall, short, fat, and thin. Although they had different physiques, they all had good-looking faces. Chapter 555. Feng Wu still didn't know that Hua Jin had already thought of another vicious scheme to deal with her. Moreover, his methods were cruel and sinister, much better than those of Eve and Rika. In the past few days, the rumors about Feng Wu had developed once again. Several people who claimed to be Feng Wu's pursuers ran to the second-grade swordmaster department to wait for Feng Wu. These people were all tall, short, fat, and thin. Although their physiques were different, they all had good-looking faces. According to these people, they had a romantic encounter with Feng Wu at some place, and all of these men had fallen in love with Feng Wu at first sight, which was why they had chased after her. This time, 5 or 6 men had appeared to pursue Feng Wu. Each and every one of them, like Jia Mao, had expressed their unrepentance. Who would believe that there was nothing fishy going on? Feng Wu had been in this school for almost 2 years. How come she had never had any pursuers before? She had only gone out to teach a class, and so many had appeared. Moreover, these pursuers ranged from 4th grade to 7th grade. One of them was even a 7th grade's 10th seat student. How could such a strong lineup of pursuers not be shocking? Among these pursuers, there were extremely talented commoners, as well as aristocrats with good family backgrounds. They all expressed their deep feelings for Feng Wu. This time, the entire 2nd grade was in an uproar. If there was a 7th grade pursuing Feng Wu, it could be said that he had been careless and had mistaken a fish for a pearl. Why were so many upperclassmen interested in Feng Wu at the same time? There was never a lack of smart people in this school. Some of the less smart ones would treat this as an interesting matter and talk to their elders or friends about it. They could also get pointers from their family or friends. This Feng Wu had probably offended someone she shouldn't have offended, which was why the other party had come up with such a scheme to trick her. It was best not to get involved in this matter. Who knew what the person behind this was trying to do? It was best to stay away from it and be careful not to be implicated. In short, it didn't take long for most of the students in the school to know that Feng Wu had offended someone she shouldn't have offended, so she ended up like this. Everyone thought about it and agreed. If someone were to pursue her, it would only mean that she had good luck with the opposite sex. That meant that she was charming. What did it have to do with others? How could things turn out like this? Ever since her suitor, Gammon, showed up, Feng Wu's dark history had been exposed. She had a fiery temper since she was young, had low self-esteem and disrespected her elders. She used her family background to bully others. Even her cousins in the family were often bullied by her until they could not raise their heads. She also had a messy private life. Before she was even an adult, she had already had illicit relationships with men. As for Xiao Ye's child, there were rumors that he wasn't born from eating the pregnancy fruit. Instead, he was born from her shameless affair with a wild man. The reason why the school would step forward to protect Feng Wu and push the blame of the child's birth onto the pregnant fruit was because the Feng family's master had reached some sort of agreement with the vice principal. That was why the school would step forward for Feng Wu's matter. Looking at the other students in the school, if they were in the same situation, would the school step forward? The answer was, of course no. The school wouldn't make a statement for a single student. However, when Feng Wu was deeply involved in the rumors, the school stepped forward. Who would believe that there was no deal involved? It couldn't be that Feng Wu was the vice principal or the principal's illegitimate daughter, right? There was also Feng Wu's entanglement with Ming Shi at school, as well as her being together with a juror all day long. It was all evidence of her being indecent and seducing men. In Feng Wu's class, there was also Mo Gue, this little fresh meat, who was always protecting Feng Wu. It wasn't that these kinds of rumors hadn't spread before, but they had never spread so quickly and so fiercely. Feng Wu wasn't a big shot. She was just an ordinary second-year student, so some of the seniors didn't even know who she was. Thus, although Feng Wu had received some nasty rumors in the past, it wasn't like this time, where the whole school's 7 grades knew about it. After all, this time, a 7th grade student was involved, so it was difficult for the other grades to not know about it. Someone wanted to deal with Feng Wu and wanted to deal with Feng Wu. Moreover, this person had a lot of power behind him. In the whole school, there were only a few people who could mobilize a 7th grade student to do something like this. However, the friends of those people went to ask, and those who had the power to do this refused to admit that they were behind it. Thus, the question was, if it wasn't them, then who could it be? Unknowingly, the direction of the rumors in the school had shifted from Feng Wu to the person behind this. Notre Dame du Starlight. Inside Hua Jin's room, bam. Hua Jin threw a vase to the ground with great force. Fortunately, she remembered to set up a soundproof barrier when she was angry. Otherwise, she would have alarmed others. After smashing a few vases and destroying a few paintings, Hua Jin immediately used the communication crystal to contact Gammon. Gammon was also angry. When he saw that Hua Jin was looking for him, he immediately returned to his room and picked up the call. "What's wrong with you? Why did you find so many people to woo Feng Wu? Don't you know that there are too many people and it's obvious that it's fake? Do you think that those who can read Notre Dame du Starlight are idiots who can be played by you?" Now, there are already many people in the 7th grade who are curious about the person behind me. They want to know who is behind this. Fortunately, those people are just curious and have no intention of interfering. Can't you think before you do something? Gammon was also furious. Now, the entire 7th grade was looking at him strangely. There were many curious gazes staring at him, which annoyed him immensely. All of this was caused by Hua Jin. He even wondered if he had bet on the wrong person. Could such a vicious woman like Hua Jin really become the Moon Empress? It was said that because Moon Emperor had the aura of the body and his body was baptized by the moonlight every day, he only liked pure and kind humans and had an obvious ability to sense good and evil. Would Moon Emperor, who had such an ability, like a vicious woman like Hua Jin? He did not think too much about it in the past, but now that he thought about it, he really regretted hugging the wrong person. Now, he was in a difficult position. What did you say? You didn't invite those people? Hua Jin's expression changed. She could not even be bothered with Gammon's disrespect. Since she was young, this lady had felt that with her relationship with her auntie, she was the future Moon Empress. Since she was young, she had held herself to the standards of the Moon Empress. When she was outside, she also put on airs and felt that those noble ladies were not qualified to be friends with her, the future Moon Empress. If it was any other time, Hua Jin would have flared up, but now, her attention was completely taken away by another matter. She could not even be bothered with Gammon's complaints. I invited them. Wasn't it you? After venting his anger, Gammon realized that something was wrong. Hua Jin said that she did not invite them, nor did he call them over. Then, where did those people come from? Was Fengwu really that popular? Chapter 556. I invited them? Wasn't it you? After venting his anger, Gammon realized that something was amiss. Hua Jin said that I didn't invite them, nor did I call them over. Where did these people come from, then? Is Fengwu really that popular? Gammon rejected this conjecture as soon as it surfaced. During his time with Fengwu, he really could not tell that the girl had the potential to become a heartthrob. How could it be me? I'm not that stupid. Hua Jin yelled back. Her heart was in a mess now. Who was it? Who was ruining her plan? Hua Jin and Gammon racked their brains but still could not figure out who was secretly helping Fengwu. Meanwhile, in Ajur's dormitory, Emogue and Ajur raised their glasses and clinked glasses. That woman, Hua Jin, can't do anything now. Didn't she find people to woo Xiao Wu? Let's help her find a few more. Heh. Let's see what she can do now. Emogue said heartily as he took a big gulp of beer. After discovering that the mastermind was Hua Jin, the first thing they thought of was to find out that Hua Jin and Gammon had conspired to create a drama about Fengwu to clear Fengwu's name. Unfortunately, they could not find any evidence of the two conspiring together, so they had no choice but to change their strategy. Since they could not clear her name, they would not force it. Since Hua Jin was determined to defame Fengwu, they could just help her do so. If you really wanted to slander someone, you would need some skills. Especially since there were quite a few people in the Starlight Academy, slandering someone without any skills would not work. It would be very easy for others to see through it. They wanted people to think that there was something wrong with the people who were trying to defame Fengwu. When the time came, they would not have to find any evidence. As long as they were smart, they would know that Fengwu had been framed. Sure enough, their plan succeeded. Now, it was Gammon and Hua Jin's turn to be troubled. Ajur didn't like Zicheng. He always felt that Zicheng was too scheming and wasn't as innocent and kind as he appeared to be. Don't be too happy. That woman won't give up so easily. She's so good at pretending. She's almost as good as that Zicheng from our department. She seemed to have a very strong purpose when interacting with people, and her brainwashing ability was top-notch. Who knew how many people's IQ plummeted because they were on good terms with her? Although Zicheng had appeared in front of him a few times, he did not pay attention to him. Fortunately, that woman knew her place and did not pester him. Their sorcerer department had Zicheng, a fake Holy Mother of White Lotus. Now, the Swordmaster department had a fake future Moon Empress. Moreover, this woman had some tricks up her sleeves. After arriving at the Notre Dame du Starlight, she had won over a group of people's hearts. Hua Jin might have suffered a setback this time, but he did not think that it would be so easy for him to fall to the ground. Zicheng? What's wrong with her? Is Zicheng scarier than Hua Jin in your eyes? It was impossible for him not to know Zicheng. She was the most eye-catching goddess in the second, third, and even the first years. Countless people waited outside the sorcerer department every day just to see her. In short, she was a very popular girl. Is she scary? Not really, but that woman is a little strange. You'd better not have too much contact with her, Ajur said with a frown. She's a goddess. How can a nobody like me have the right to come into contact with such a high and mighty goddess? Ogué laughed self-deprecatingly. Although he did not understand why Ajur said that, he still decided to stay away from Zicheng when he saw her in the future. Still, Ajur, when did you have such a good relationship with the seniors? They're even willing to help you destroy your image. This was what Ogué was most curious about. Ajur was clearly just a second-year student like him. Moreover, he had never seen him close to the seniors. How did he suddenly find so many people to help him? Of course, I didn't find them. I don't have any relationship with them. It's all thanks to Senior Elena and the rest. They were the ones who contacted them. As for the person who asked them for help, it wasn't me. It was Senior Ming Shi. After discussing this plan with Ming Shi was in charge of contacting Elena and the rest of the team. Elena liked the Fengwu girl to begin with, so she immediately brought Ruglas and the rest to find help. The people who were invited this time were on good terms with Senior Elena and the rest. Moreover, they were tight-lipped, so there was no need to worry about being found out. So, it was Senior Ming Shi who asked Senior Elena and the rest for help, Ogué said in realization. It made sense. Other than Senior Ming Shi, there was no one else. Hua Jin could not find out who had ruined her plan. After being angry for a few days, she ordered Gammon to continue with what they had discussed previously. Gammon did not want to do it anymore. Ever since people suspected that he had deliberately gotten close to Fengwu to set a trap to harm her, many people became curious about the person behind him. As a result, many people began to keep an eye on him. If he were to make a move on Fengwu now, he would definitely become the most suspected person. This was not a good deal, so he could not do it no matter what. Since Gammon refused, Hua Jin naturally roared again. Unfortunately, this time, Gammon had made up his mind and would not change it no matter what. Hua Jin roared for a long time, threatening and intimidating him, but it was all to no avail. Hua Jin threatened to expose the fact that Ajur had gotten a woman pregnant. In the future, no respectable ladies would consider him as their first choice for marriage. Hua Jin knew that Gammon was very ambitious, and a powerful in-laws was what he needed. Once these things were exposed, it would be a kind of damage to his reputation. No family who loved their daughter would marry their daughter to a man who had impregnated another woman before marriage. In an aristocratic family, one could have other women, but one could not get another woman pregnant before marriage. Those who did so would only be seen as unruly and would not become the marriage partner of a real aristocratic family. Hua Jin thought that the ambitious Gammon would have no choice but to agree to her request. Unexpectedly, Gammon only sneered. You can talk about it if you want, but I can also talk to your legendary fiancé, the future Moon Emperor, about what you've done during this period. I believe that His Highness will be interested. With that, Gammon hung up without hesitation. D***emenet. How dare he threaten me? Hua Jin thought to herself with a sinister expression. Why didn't she think that if she had not threatened him first, he would not have threatened her in return? Chapter 557. With that, Gammon hung up without any hesitation. D***emenet. How dare he threaten me? Hua Jin thought to herself with a sinister expression. Why didn't she think that if she hadn't threatened him first, he wouldn't have threatened her in return? Gammon was actually taking a gamble by threatening Hua Jin. He was betting on how much Hua Jin cared about her position in the future Moon Emperor's heart and whether the Moon Empress would stand up for her. Hua Jin was no ordinary noble lady. She had the Moon Empress behind her. He knew that even if he went to the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom and told them about what Hua Jin had done, he might not be punished. Instead, he might be silenced as well. After all, he was just a young master from an ordinary family. How could his life and reputation be more important than the Moon Empress's niece's reputation? However, after seeing Hua Jin's reaction, he somewhat understood. It seemed that the future Moon Emperor did not have any feelings for her, and the Moon Empress did not dote on her as much as she claimed. If she was really so confident, they would protect her no matter what he did. Why would she show any signs of panic? It seemed that he had won the gamble. Gammon knew that, at least for the time being, this future Moon Empress would not come looking for him again. As for whether Hua Jin would look for someone else, that had nothing to do with him. He was already thankful that he could extricate himself from this mess. After Gammon hung up on her, Hua Jin was so angry that she smashed everything in the house. 2 hours later, when she was almost done venting her anger, she finally managed to contact another person. "Help me do something. I'll get you that thing you want." It was unknown what the person on the other end said, but in the end, Hua Jin hung up with a smile on her face. Feng Wu did not know that another conspiracy was about to happen. She was now holding an invitation in her hand in a daze. It was a wedding invitation with her name written on it and the words "Please be present at the wedding." "Do you have relatives getting married?" Sealer snatched the invitation from Feng Wu's hand and flipped it open curiously. "On the 12th of this month, at Blue Moon Castle, a grand wedding will be held. Miss Feng Wu, please be present at the ceremony." What the hell is this? What kind of wedding invitation is this? "This is the first time I've seen such a casual wedding invitation," Silda said, making a fuss over nothing. "Don't tell me who the bride and groom are. What kind of wedding invitation is this? This is my first time seeing such a casual wedding invitation." Even Annika came over. She could tell that there was something wrong with this wedding invitation. Under normal circumstances, who would not even write the name of the bride and groom, only an address? It would be strange if anyone would go. "Xiao Wu, don't go. What Blue Moon Castle? I've never heard of such a place. It might be a trap set up by someone to lure you into their trap." Silda recalled the storm that targeted Feng Wu not long ago. That storm had finally subsided, and he could not afford to cause any more trouble. Feng Wu nodded obediently, indicating that she would not go. This wedding invitation had a very uncomfortable aura on it, and Feng Wu did not like it at all. At this time, Feng Wu did not know that there were 2 other girls in school who had also received this invitation. "It's finally time to start the Blue Moon Castle dungeon. I didn't think that even I would be chosen to enter this dungeon. God bless me, I must leave this place alive, and not be chosen by that pervert." Irene's heart was filled with worry. This Blue Moon Castle dungeon was definitely the most dangerous dungeon that the female lead had ever entered. The dungeons that the female lead had encountered in the early stages were all meant to give her experience and all kinds of godly weapons and handsome men. This Blue Moon Castle dungeon was definitely not a dungeon that gave the female lead benefits, but the greatest danger that the female lead had ever encountered. In this dungeon, other than a pervert and his bunch of brides, there was nothing else. The female lead's charm had always been popular among men. If the female lead had the heart, there would be no man that she could not seduce. However, the pervert in the Blue Moon Castle was an exception. That pervert was one of the few men in the novel who did not take the female lead seriously. Moreover, he was the most lethal one. Although the novel did not have an assessment of that pervert's strength, she could guess from some descriptions that that pervert's strength was definitely not below that of the Star Hall's Hallmaster and Notre Dame du Starlight's director. In short, that pervert was on the same level as the Devil Lord. Even the female lead had to use a Herculean effort to escape from his hands. Could she really escape? Boo-hoo, we're in big trouble now. Blue Moon Castle. A Jur came to find Feng Wu to have a big meal to celebrate their spoiling of Hua Jin's evil plan, but he did not expect to hear such news that almost emptied his HP bar. Others might not know where the Blue Moon Castle was, but he knew that it was a place that no one could find. Some said that the Blue Moon Castle was located in a forbidden land, some said that it was in the underworld, some said that it was in the demon world, and some said that it was in the demon world. The owner of the Blue Moon Castle, Duke Blue Moon, was an even more terrifying existence. Even the Star Hall's Hallmaster and Notre Dame du Starlight's director might not be able to defeat him. Duke Blue Moon had never been on the mainland, so many people did not know of his great name. Those who knew were afraid of him and were unwilling to talk about him. In fact, no one could say much about Duke Blue Moon, and those who knew about him knew more or less the same thing. Duke Blue Moon was powerful enough, but he did not have the ambition to dominate the human world like the Devil Lord. The only thing he did was to hold a wedding in the Blue Moon Castle every 100 years. The girls who received his invitation were all candidates for the bride. On the day of the wedding, whether these girls were willing or not, they would all be transported to the mysterious Blue Moon Castle. The girl chosen by the Duke would become the bride of the Duke of Blue Moon. Don't think that marrying such a strong person was a good thing. In fact, the girl who was chosen would be made into a puppet by the perverted Duke after the wedding. Then, she would become part of Duke Blue Moon's collection, and even her soul would be imprisoned there forever. The other girls who were not chosen did not have a good ending either. They all died in that place, but their corpses would be transported to the place where they came from after their deaths. Within the Blue Moon ancient castle, other than the chosen bride, no other woman could remain there. They would all be teleported out. In order to not cause panic among the girls, the existence of Duke Blue Moon had always been a secret. Other than Notre Dame du Starlight, Star Hall's higher-ups, and the emperors of the 4 empires, only some of the oldest aristocratic families knew about it. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.